Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Over Manga Cast. That time we woke up in a podcast and had to explain manga, our heated adventures, overanalyzing manga that we find interesting. On this episode, we read Sakamoto Days, chapters 1 through 18, but more importantly, we have a returning guest. Jump Kodie joins us this episode, so stay tuned and enjoy the show. My name is Sam, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast, where this week we are taking a look at Sakamoto Days on Shonen Jump. And normally this is the time where we would talk about our familiarity with the franchise, but speaking of Shonen Jump, we have a special guest. It's Jump Kodie, returned once again. Hello, sir. How are you today?
Oh my gosh, I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me back. We were talking a few minutes ago. I was just like, oh man, these guys, they don't even want to hear from me again. Probably gave no insightful knowledge whatsoever. I'm Kodie, or Jump Kodie on Twitter, if you want to find me there. My intro today consists of my most popular tweet was about NFTs, not about the podcasts I've done whatsoever in my time at Shonen Jump. So that's how successful I am. I feel like it could have been verified just from one tweet. And that's,
when it comes to Twitter, you take the low-hanging fruit. Like,
that was a fun couple of minutes when I saw that.
No, Shonen Jump is not doing NFTs. Please stop.
We are not. We are not. And we made that perfectly clear. Can't make everyone happy, but definitely made masses happy that day. That was a good win. So our social media guy literally was like, became like a hero that tweet with his tweets. So I like chimed in and was trying to like read into everything, and it was like I had like one comment because I had no idea what an NFT was, and other people were just kind of like, what? Like what are people talking about? And then like instantly I like tweeted that, and like of course like some of my coworkers like, we know what NFTs are, Kodie, like you shouldn't have said that. And I was like, okay, but like there was definitely a mass like moment of like, what in the flip is happening, and why are people referencing NFTs when that is not what we're doing whatsoever? We have a Shonen Jump store now with cool like products. Check it out. That's my plug. Check it out. There's a really cool maroon like bleach hoodie that I love. I hope I can get my hands on it. But we wanted the masses to purchase it first, so not allowed to purchase any of the product yet. So if you get a cool Shonen Jump hoodie, tweet at me. Tell me about it. How awesome it is. So. That's my intro today. Not even about Sakamoto Days. But I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about this really cool series.
We're happy to have you back. And you may notice, dear listeners, that we do not have Jay with us today. It turns out it was an unexpectedly sunny day when we decided to record, so she needed to retreat to the coffin. And of course, big thanks to Kodie for stepping up and returning. I feel so official now. We have not just a guest star, a returning guest star, which I think is the next step in the magic spell that makes us an official podcast.
Yeah, it feels so real.
I think you're one guest spot away from being friend of the pod.
Oh, I want to get in on that promo. Okay, let me know when that promo is available. Like, friends of the Over Manga Cast, right? Like, I could like add that to my byline on Twitter. I'd be honored to. So, no, happy to be here. Definitely happy to be here. There's so many people out here podcasting about manga and anime and all these great things that are happening. And obviously I'm biased to my employer because I love Shonen Jump, but it's just so cool. It's like so cool being like on the Twitterverse, and I'm just like, oh man, like cool. Look at this. Like, look at all these people like tweeting about these great new series. And we have a new series coming out. By the time this is probably live, there'll be a new series even out on Shonen Jump. So it's just so cool. Like, I love it. And people are just like feeding off of it. Most days the comments are all good. Some days the comments people like want something different or whatever, but it's just like, it's just like feed me this energy, people. So every time I see you guys tweeting or like liking a tweet or like talking about your series that you guys are enjoying, I'm like, yes, like feeding the machine, because it's fun to see what comes out.
Mm-hmm. Feed the mighty algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, you're in good company with me at the very least, because I have always been a big lover of Shonen Jump. I've mentioned many times how much I love Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh. So,
have you guys played Master Duel?
I haven't. I've been playing another thing, another Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I've been like going through, like I'll occasionally just go through my old collection of Yu-Gi-Oh video games. Nightmare Troubadour is one of my favorites.
Oh, I had that game. Was that on DS?
Yeah, that was the DS one, or it was one of the first DS ones.
I had that. It was a good one. It was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Good game.
Unfortunately, I've not gotten around to Master Duel, but seeing clips from Rhyme Style on Twitter about it is very funny. But what we are here for today is Sakamoto Days. And as always, here at the top of the show, we like to talk about what our familiarity with the property we read this week is. For me, this was, it was just something that kept popping up in my recommended. And what it was like, I would just see, title Sakamoto Days, the little icon that Jump has on the website, which is just our main character pointing a scanner gun at the viewer and also an actual gun. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be some wacky thing. I don't know how I got into my head that somehow it was some sort of post-apocalypse thing. I think I might have just been reading something of that vibe when I first saw it, and I'm like, obviously these two things are related. But no, that was just about it until we came to this fine podcast. How about you, Kodie? What's your familiarity with Sakamoto Days?
Oh my gosh. So luckily I got to jump into it right away with our On Hiatus podcast, the Shonen Jump podcast, right out of the gate. It was definitely one of my favorite series. I know the editor, the American editor, obviously the English version editor. And so I just jumped in. It came out in November of 2020, and it really, I think, struck a good chord and balance of like shonen action manga, but also some of that humor and that like not gag humor that Shonen Jump does, but home the slice of life.
It's kind of in the same postal code as One Punch Man in the vibes style.
Yes. If you could take One Punch Man and Spy Family, I think you would get Sakamoto Days or something close.
Well, I would say also sprinkle in just a little bit of Gintama, because it does have some pretty strong Gintama vibes.
It's got some strong Gintama vines. But also for me personally, it like rings a lot of I'm blanking on the full title, but Reborn. The other one with it's about the baby mafioso who shoots people with a gun that makes you come back to life and fulfill your greatest passions.
That sounds oddly specific.
It sounds oddly specific and obviously kind of interesting, but I
don't know what that is.
I can't name it off the top of my head. It's gonna come back to you like mid-episode. I can tell.
Yeah, when you're not thinking about it. So yeah, Matt, what's your familiarity with Sakamoto Days?
So yeah, my familiarity is pretty much the same as Sam's. Whenever I'd open up my Shonen Jump app, I'd notice it there. I'm like, yeah, that looks like a manga. It's people holding guns, sure. And then because I do the Over MangaCast Twitter account, I see a lot of manga Twitter, and man, does manga Twitter like posting panels from this, sometimes completely out of context. Especially when things get canceled. There's a certain scene they love posting when that happens.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I want to scroll through Twitter right now and be like, all right, which one did you like or retweet that really caught your attention? Right, that opening chapter, right, with the gun and the shopping scanner from a grocery store instantly makes you think okay, is this a convenience store shoot 'em up manga? That I don't know. I don't know. There's so much going on right off the bat, and you. Mm-hmm. They really put you in this world of kind of you're in a part of this Assassin's Guild thing, right? And I'm kind of quoting X-Men there, but yeah, you're just kind of okay, I'm in this whole organizational feel, but there at the same time it's this is just a dude living at home with his wife and his kid. It really brings it back to you. Yeah. I'm sure you've worked at a convenience store.
I also had a bit of the element of my familiarity with it was largely there was a while when Shonen Jump had it as its banner. Just the fact that it's the main character with the scanner gun. I don't think that there's a better way of advertising what the series is about that sort of like sketchy stuff. Like I get where Sam is saying that like it has this post-apocalyptic feel because it's like a really sketchy art style that feels almost grungy but not quite. And then there's just the barcode scanner. Like if there's a better way of describing the identity of Sakamoto Days, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I've never really associated the apocalyptic vibe. You're right. There's definitely this. I don't know if it's in the lettering style or in the art, like the art itself. That just when something seems like almost like ran down, right? Like the world seems like it's like collapsing around this character or this group of characters, as we'll talk about. But
and something about Sakamoto himself, like his character design kind of feels like one of those subversive stories where it's like, oh, it's a post-apocalypse, except it's just this regular dude who's now living in the wasteland.
Yes, I see it. That alone that exactly is right. It's this dude who just wants to eat ramen and sweet buns and
and hang out with his kid.
And everything's gone to hell.
Everything.
Yes. Who is our eponymous Sakamoto? We learn in the opening pages that once upon a time he was the most powerful hitman in all of the underworld, Taro Sakamoto. He could knife down dozens of goons, eliminate them by the score. No one was more powerful than him, and every villain in Japan feared him. And then one day, he fell in love.
And now he's retired.
Yeah, he gave up on the life of telling.
He took to retirement arguably well. I'd say well.
He certainly tries to.
I think I really like Sakamoto's personality isn't so much John Wick in that he found love and now he's just like, yeah, I'm a much gentler person. He's very much, I could easily go back into killing. My wife just wouldn't be happy with it. And happy at home really is the most important bit.
Hey, if any of you know, it's happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
This is like spot on in that realm. I think he would have killed everybody though.
Because like we because of the character that we meet right after Sakamoto, we get a lot of peeks into Sakamoto's mind, and the reflex is still there, very much so.
Yeah.
The first time they did one of those panels, I didn't notice the little like thought bubble circles going down to like the actual panel, and it took me an extra read to be like, oh, I see what happened.
Yeah, I think that is the brilliance of this series. If I may say so myself, that was the moment when I knew that this series was different. And what I mean by that is because I'll give more description too for people that haven't read it, right? The idea that have Sakamoto, this mild-mannered hitman that is retired, trying to live out the family life, but obviously there's a world that's trying to pull him back in. And in this case, Shin is introduced, his old partner, an old like employee of his hitman days. And he is a clairvoyant, right? So at first you're like, okay, cool. He like there's some magical powers. Like this is Shonen. I'm with it. Then on this, that doubles as a literary device, right? Because and the comical device because he is literally like a translator for Sakamoto, right? So Suzuki Sensei really came up with this cool concept because that thought bubble, like seeing that panel of like Sakamoto's imagining like stabbing him in the neck with a pencil or a knife. You're like, oh my god, he just killed him. And then you see that it's a very subtle, but the thought bubble's trickling down from Sakamoto's brain or from his head, below in the panel below. And then Shin's like, just imagine killing me, right? And you have to like take it back. You're like, oh,
I see.
Yes, exactly. Anything like he like doesn't say Shin is gonna pick up on. And then they run with that in the like going forward in the chapters we'll be talking about. And I just that's what hooked me into this series. Like that alone was the win.
It's such a compelling dynamic.
there's such a long period where Sakamoto literally says nothing at any point, and you start to wonder if, like, is he mute? No, he's just very soft spoken, but you get such a complete understanding, not just of who he presents to the world, but his true inner self, because Shin will be there commenting on
what's going on.
Why are you thinking about snapping my neck right now? And then there's just like a little thought bubble of him saying, "Don't sit there," because Shin was sitting on a display stand or something.
Yes.
I love how just straightforward this manga is with the whole supernatural powers thing. It's like, he's a clairvoyant. This is like page 10 after we get the brief introduction to Sakamoto's backstory. It's like, oh yeah, he was this super cool, super skilled assassin. Okay. And then, all right, we've got a mind reader. And that's just like, well, that is all my expectations of what this universe can do immediately thrown off of the nearest cliff. I am now willing to accept anything. And that is just, it's really good to just pull that pin right away.
It justifies taking Sakamoto's John Wick into the shonen tier.
Yeah,
because without that, I feel like because like one of the really cool things, like, you know, in the I think it's in the first chapter where we get the fight between Shin and Sakamoto. It's in the first chapter because it's a long one. Every time I read a new Shonen Jump thing, my brain knows that the first chapter is unusually long because it's a pitch chapter, but it always gives me heart palpitations every time. We get a fight between Sakamoto and Shin because Shin wants Sakamoto to come back into the hitman life because, you know, leaving means death. That, you know, classic, which like it plays melodramatically for comedy. And but like the fight that we get between the two of them it's just a shonen fight. Like, it's the kind of thing that you would see in a series like Yu Yu Hakusho or early Dragon Ball. You know, like, not like world breaking crazy, but like they're like moving at like near vanish speeds. And just like taking for granted that, yeah, Shin can read minds. We're not gonna go into this too deeply because it doesn't matter. Kind of excuses that element of it, because one thing that really struck me is that it did such a good job of balance. The comedy was really funny, but the action scenes were just really good classic shonen fight scenes. And I really appreciated that they they didn't unintentionally leak into each other, which I think, you know, could have, you know, caused problems for it. It balances that so well, which is something that really stood out to me, especially early on.
Yeah, it does a very good job of walking the tightrope.
I agree. I totally agree. It definitely in that, and I think John Wick is a really good reference there. I also feel that ability, again, with the mind reading almost gives like a fourth wall break, right? That you get with like a Deadpool. You know, so like the humor is so directed towards us as the reader. So it just makes you chuckle. It just makes you like kind of like you know, like those little moments between Shin and Sakamoto are so enjoyable and clever.
It's also,
and it just breaks up the monotony.
Yeah, Shin has a very strong audience surrogate element to him. If someone who was reading the manga was also in universe, that's who Shin would be.
Yeah. He's. It's almost like he's like telling the story
to us. Yeah.
Yes, and so that just makes it that much more relatable, especially in this like very like normal world. But oh, guess what? There's guys with people with powers.
But yeah, the fight between Sakamoto and Shin goes about as well as you think taking on the world's most like amazing assassin goes. He basically gets one shot into a display case and then wakes up in his family, in Sakamoto's family home.
Matt, we're skipping over my instantly one of my favorite feats that Sakamoto does, because I'm pretty sure this man has like a grudge against bullets because of all the different ways he will just avoid getting shot in the most disrespectful manner. Because Shin almost shoots him and he deflects the shot away by spitting out a cough drop.
Yep.
And they only get more absurd.
And Shin is just willing to accept that. He's like, he blocked my shot with a cough drop, but it's not in the what? It's in the just what I'd expect from the legendary Mr. Sakamoto.
Oh, that element of taking the absurdity for granted.
Shin has also worked with Sakamoto before, I think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so he does know to some extent what to expect from him. Really, the surprise for Shin is that, wow, he hasn't really atrophied as much as it looks, because they make a lot of jokes about Sakamoto's chin.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
He's let himself go a bit in the past 5 years.
Yes, and I think that's another winning moment of this manga, because we also see it with one of our other really popular series, and I got to give it a shout out while we have the chance to. Kaiju number 8. If you haven't read it, please pick it up. It's so good, and it's
on our list.
It's so good because Kafka, the main character, and Sakamoto are both your average, ordinary, everyday man. They're both 30s, if not older, for Sakamoto, and it's against that, almost against that shonen code of it's got to be like young Goku, right? Like it's got to be young Yugi, Yusuke, right? It's got to be this teenage boy, right? That gets these powers and goes up. It's no, these guys are legit my age and inspire me. You know what I mean? It inspires me. If I get a little bit of a beer gut, that I'll still be able to be quick and nimble enough to block bullets. All right, that's a win. And in Kaiju number 8, Kafka is very similar, because he's just a normal, average, everyday Joe, and he's thrown into this outstanding, amazing created universe, right, with a kaiju, right? But in Sakamoto Days, it's very still again, right? He's just run-of-the-mill gas station owner type guy, and by the way, he can really kick some butt, and he's faster than his chubbiness leads on, and I love it. I love every second of it. So definitely another winning point of this manga for sure.
The way I described it a few times, sending screen caps to the Over Manga Cast Discord and a few other friends, it's this manga is the embodiment of the shopkeeper is a retired level 20 adventurer.
Yes.
that old chestnut from the D&D scene. Why do you not bully the shopkeeper? Because he's got 20 levels in fighter, that's why.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get clowned like that? Shin wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He thought he rolled pretty high on that roll there, and he thought, I can attack the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper actually, with plus 20 defense and plus 20, agility, was nah, bro, I'm way better than you've ever imagined. So, love it. That's a good way to describe it for sure.
But yeah, Shin survives the encounter, which he's kind of amazed about, and he is invited to family dinner.
Yeah.
And
there's Aoi Sakamoto. Do you want a second serving of meat buns? And Shin is so confused, how did I even get on the second floor home of the Sakamoto store? How did I get here?
Oh, you were knocked out, but we nursed you back to health.
Typical Pokemon play there.
Yeah. and Shin's cold assassin heart is instantly melted by a delicious home-cooked meal.
That might be the secret to world peace, guys.
We just need really good home cooking.
Hey, dude,
home cooking.
Home cooking.
Home kicking for the home cooking.
Yeah.
I was gonna let it go. And you just brought it right back. I was just let it go. You misspoke.
Well, that's exactly what happens. I'm pretty sure Sakamoto even kicks Shin first. It's home kicking into home cooking. That is the solution to world peace. If someone's not willing to talk, you knock them out with a kick to the head, and then you give them food. Everyone's friends now.
I think that should be your new pitch. Anytime you do the podcast, just home kicking into home cooking. each listener will be transported into a new place.
Look, I'm not saying Emerald Lagasse isn't doing anything right now, but I bet we could convince him to come on board.
I'll have my people talk to his people. We'll see what happens.
Call it the Overhunger Cast.
Oh man, that's a really good name.
That is.
Today on the Overhunger Cast.
Okay, writing that one down for later, but
in the meantime.
Yes.
In the meantime.
So Shin has found out that Sakamoto has not only retired from being an assassin, he has adopted a no-killing rule and is totally moved by the simplicity of a home life. And it's just like, man, you're right. I'm going to go back to my boss and I'm going to tell him Sakamoto's off the table. He's donezo. And if anything happens, I'll take the blame for him. Because Shin's a good guy.
He is. I really like Shin. Like, we spend a lot of time literally in his head as he's kind of the perspective character, but so you're kind of expected to like him, but he's just a delight.
Yeah. Again, there's an audience surrogate element to him. You know, there are cases where you can kind of forget that he was originally an assassin. Like they'll jokingly like have a little box with an arrow pointed to him, ex-assassin, just to remind you that that's where he started off from.
But unfortunately for Shin, the Assassin Association, say that 5 times fast, doesn't accept this new reality. And so they're like, well, we'll just kill Shin and then we'll kill Sakamoto. Unfortunately, they forgot he can read minds. So he, of course, objects to this strenuously, but is vastly outnumbered. Thankfully, Sakamoto is the best and bugged Shin while he was asleep.
He hucks a smoke bomb into the room where this is happening, and then they do a really good job of making it unclear if Sakamoto is slaughtering these people because there's a lot of blood. But if you pay attention, you know, he's not like hitting people like in the neck. He's like hitting them like in the arm, the shoulder, etc.
And he does gun kata with a taser. It's crazy.
I like that, gun kata with a taser. Yeah, he's very reminds me of I don't want to go down that road. I was thinking of an episode of Gundam, but anyway, it was just
do not say the G word while Jake is here.
Okay, got it.
I could go into that.
Yeah, well, we can save it for another day. It's just again shows Sakamoto's like overall ability is like bar none, right? That he's able in the middle of literally a dozen plus people trying to kill him, he's able to like, I'm just going to disarm you to the point where I can like get Shin and get out of here. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh okay. Like I would have slipped. I probably would have went for a jugular or two. I would have been angry. I would have been like, oh, you kicked me. Yeah, you gotta die now. Nope. He is like cool, calm, collected throughout the entire battle, and he's just like, yep, I still got it. It's pretty impressive.
I believe it's the next chapter. We go to the next day. And like I said, it's one of those ones where like if you're paying close attention, you see that he's like using tasers and not, you know, hitting people in vital areas. But again, they do a good job of sort of obfuscating that. And Shin is complimenting Sakamoto on, wow, you iced all those guys. And then Aoi hears that. If you're going back to killing,
I'm sorry, you did what?
You know the family rules, which we get introduced to the family rules.
If you murder anyone, we're getting a divorce. And I'm like, harsh but fair, but also maybe not harsh enough.
that feels a bit disproportionate, but not in the correct way.
Yeah, it's because it's such
it's an effective threat.
Yeah, it's so nonchalant, right, in this series that he didn't ice them, he Batmaned them, and then it was like you're that upset with him for doing that you like he's just back to his normal self. Like you can't like she wouldn't even known the difference, and it's like, yep, nope, divorce. Like dang, like just pops the hammer.
There's the classic thing of badass husband is scared of tiny wife, which I enjoy that when it's well written.
I also liked the font in the bubble hyphened in between the words of divorce. So I like to think she spelled out the word divorce because she didn't want to say it in front of their daughter.
Oh, that's a really good point. I remember her spelling it out as I was like rereading some of the chapters, and then I was like, why did she do that? But that makes total sense.
Divorce.
Well, I mean, she's afraid to say divorce in front of her daughter, but not if you're going around killing people, then we're getting
it owes to the world that we live in, because again, here's shit over here who's reading minds, and it's like nobody thinks that's weird.
Nope, not at all. That is a really good point. Just keep it.
It's a bit of subtle characterization for Mrs. Sakamoto as well, because it's like Okay, so this isn't the situation of wife stroke girlfriend of badass doesn't know that he was a badass, or was it like unaware of his violent past. It's like, no, she says that with the kind of like, have you been drinking again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
that you get from like the classic long-suffering wives of Western comics.
yeah, my favorite thing about I think
Aoi, I think, because we
do this every time.
Yeah, if only Jay was here, because we've had this specific name before.
Whatever.
I think it's Aoi.
Aoi. My favorite thing about her is not only does she know her husband's a badass, she's kind of into it, is the entire point of this chapter, because she basically lives her life like nothing can ever harm her.
Because she's right.
Oh no, Taro will save me.
No problem.
Lady, you're in a terrorist situation.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I just hope the ice cream doesn't melt. If I eat the ice cream before it melts, will they be mad at me? While someone's pointing a gun at her.
Because in this chapter, the main plot is that she gets caught in a bus jacking because a group of terrorists are upset that their favorite manga got canceled a little too early and are...
Do you understand the pain of having your favorite manga discontinued?
Yes. Yes, and as the Shonen Jump representative here, yes, I have the pain too. It's not just like the people, like back to the Twitter comments, like, why'd you kill that series? Why is that series? Like, dude, I would love to sit and tell you why. I would love to go through this whole political, bureaucratic, and data-driven process with you. Please let me sit and tell you all this. But obviously, it wouldn't change. Like, you're never gonna change people's minds. They're gonna miss the series, and the series that gets, if they get canceled, they get canceled. That's just how this process works. So
that's why. If you can never win, and that's why you just go, it's because I hate you personally. And then the conversation just ends and you win.
See, but Matt, Kodie has to be diplomatic.
Yes, I can't say I hate any of you. Like, I love every single person that's a fan of Shonen Jump. Like, I have to. Like, I do feel these people's pain, right? And I would not hijack a bus, but
I was gonna say there's a ceiling of what you're willing to do, but I know that pain too. I've seen good stuff, fade away into that long good night. And
guys, these are bus terrorists. How do we know they're upset that a good series got canceled? Come on here, maybe it's something that deserved it.
That is a fair point.
That's true. It could have been some trash. Yeah. We will never know because Sakamoto and Shin leap into action.
Sakamoto notices that Aoi is in the bus that is like speeding towards the side of a building. I believe this is where we get the flashback when the family rules get established, which it's one of those ones where it's like, that's a really effective scene. This comedy manga did some real drama here and it worked. I love it when that happens.
Again, that like behind the scenes almost fourth wall break, not that this is really a fourth wall break, this is just more of a memory flashback, breaks up the stereotypical, this is just a shonen manga, I'm gonna fight and punch everybody and win. And so
innocent,
so beautiful.
Innocent bystanders accidentally getting drawn into flashbacks is my favorite gag in this manga. Were you just having a flashback?
Yeah. Very true. It's really well done.
And the flashback that we actually get is really cool because it's of when Sakamoto and Aoi were like still dating. Like they knew each other and had known each other for a while. What Aoi does is, again, going into that, like, she knows her boyfriend is a complete badass. She says, if you keep killing people, I don't want the bloodstained gift that you're giving me. She basically throws herself off of a cliff.
It's so weird because she says it seems like just an average breakup thing. Like, well, if you're just going to keep doing this, I can't accept this. We can't be together. And she's like storming off. And it seems like a classic breakup thing. And then she jumps off the cliff and goes, bye-bye. Like, wait,
it's such a
hold on.
It's so intentionally a non sequitur, and the moment at the end of it, because obviously Sakamoto saves her because, you know, he's a completely normal guy who can jump off of a 30-foot cliff and be fine with a snowbank, because this is still a comedy series. But the thing that she says is, if I had died, you'd be sad, right? And he says, yeah. And she says, everyone who you kill, no matter how awful they are, everyone you kill, there's someone who would be sad that they're no longer alive. So that's why I don't want you to kill anymore. And then there's Shin, who, you know, I like, not quite literally to tears for me, but there's Shin like crying, and I'm like, yep, me too, buddy.
He's like, oh, that's so sweet. I understand now.
Yeah, it's such a like back Suzuki Sensei here again, right? Like, win, because you have this very like touching moment that, like, wow, like a really good way to think. Like, I shouldn't murder people. That's really, like, that spoke to me as a person. Not that I'm a murderer, but you know what I mean. It speaks to you. It speaks to you.
I certainly hope not.
Hey man, you should see my Twitter after dark. No, anyway.
Oh no.
No.
It's the way it speaks to empathy and understanding that everyone has somebody who would be hurt by
sad to
your
see them
passing.
go, yeah.
So that being said, if you ever need help or need a friend, there's numbers you can call and people you can reach out to. Anyway, sorry, I just had to.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, that. Honestly, that's kind of why the moment works, because it really does take it that seriously. Like, there's the fantastical element of like jumping off of a cliff and all, but like that is a real, you know, a very real moment, and I really appreciated it. It's not the only time when we'll have really like not jokey, not fighty shonen, but just really good emotional moments.
What the thing that I really liked about this, like, it, like, again, for all the same reasons that you guys said, it's an effective scene, but the situation has called this moment to not just Sakamoto's mind, but also Aoi's mind, and she's just kind of sitting there on the bus. It's such like a mundane panel of her like resting her elbow on the window and leaning on her hand, like, yeah, just riding the bus. That was pretty reckless of me back then. And it's like, okay, good. I'm glad you acknowledged that was nutty. And also, it just further enhances the insanity of she is currently involved in a terrorist activity as an unwitting victim, and she's just still reclining on the bus like this is a...
reminiscing one of her dates with her now for 5 years husband.
Like this is your name or something.
Yeah, it's
and then the insanity resumes. Yeah, the insanity resumes where Sakamoto uses a stop sign to stop the bus.
I loved that.
Kind of wearing a bunny mask, but not really.
We get a little bit of an action scene of Shin, wire-fooing his way into the bus and, beating up some of the terrorists. And then he's like, hey, bus driver, you can stop the bus now. And he turns around and the guy's legs are chained to the gas pedal.
Mm-hmm. See, I thought for a second it was going to be a speed situation where it's like, they've rigged the bus to explode if I don't stop driving.
Yeah.
But no, it's even wackier, which fit in.
Yes.
Just how do you get on the bus and decide that you're gonna go tie this dude up on the bus? I don't.
Overly elaborate reaction to.
Yeah, I need to stop thinking about it and just go back to being a good series. Like, now that we're really discussing it out in the open, I'm like, how did he just let them get the chain? I get it, he would hold them back, and then. Would the bus be driving? Would he have just pushed his feet down on the ground, which would have been... yeah, okay.
There are logistical questions that the manga makes a point of not answering to its comedic benefit.
Yes.
And
we cut to later that night where since they had a bit of a fight in the morning, Family Rules Article 12, the Sakamotos treat each other to a nice dinner.
And it's really cute.
And on the news, a mysterious masked man who stopped the runaway bus.
Yeah.
Sakamoto's like, crap.
We didn't mention in detail the way that he did in fact use a stop sign to stop the bus. That seems perfectly logical. He planted the stop sign in the concrete and then used it as a wedge to hold the bus in place until it stopped going forward.
Yes.
Like a normal person.
Yeah, just no big deal. Using leverage and fulcrums to stop a bus, all the meanwhile, though, the force of a bus at that speed, of course wouldn't break that pole. But okay, yeah. Oh.
Inertia is a property of matter. Look, considering the supernatural stuff that ends up happening in this series, I wouldn't be shocked if they make things like stop signs and whatnot out of like unobtainium or something.
If you guys want to talk about elementary school science, you guys can go on and do an episode on Dr. Stone, okay?
Very fair. Yeah, I'll do that for another day because the stuff in Dr. Stone just blows my mind. But it's kind of cool that there's some scientific love and passion behind it. But continue, good sir.
Shin has a disguise that actually looks cool. He also actually uses that disguise more than once, which, having a thing you can put over your face and a hood to put up seems like something smart when you're an ex-assassin. But Sakamoto is a relatively noticeable fellow for a lot of reasons. But because they're famous, we get a bit where they're at a carnival, and of course the carnival game is rigged, so Shin can't, cork gun snipe the little thing to get the prize, and then Sakamoto immediately wins everything at the stand and gets the guy really mad at him. You get that bit. And then we get to, I think this is probably going to be the only meaningful complaint I have about all of Sakamoto Days, is some of the female characters can look very similar, because we get introduced to Officer Nakase, who has very short dark hair and a kind of distinctive blush that makes her look a lot like Aoi. And I was a little bit confused. I was like, is Aoi in the police now? She's a totally disconnected character. There is that element of the female faces look a little bit homogenous, but hey, they're also really cute, so
not gonna complain.
Not the worst complaint in the world.
Of course. I mean, I just assumed it was like Pokemon, right? Every Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny is like,
and Officer Jenny is the same, right? Yeah. You've got stock factory model, nice, cute girls.
Jeez.
At first, she's just going to ticket the bike is in an illegal parking space. This is a Moomin Rider pedal bike, so there's that bit of fun, and then she also. It's mostly Shin, because again, Sakamoto barely speaks, but Shin mentions in passing something that wasn't public knowledge about the bus jacking, and we get a chase scene.
I'm sorry, what was that you said? What do you know about that illegal act of vigilantism?
Nothing at all.
You sure about that? You sure about that? Yeah. Bye.
I don't know anything about the old people that were on that bus. How did he know old people were on that bus?
Man, I got to give props. Whatever Sakamoto's doing for his neighborhood is amazing, because the amount of people who see him actively running away from a police officer and just go, "Oh, hey, Mr. Sakamoto, having a good day?" They don't try and stop him. They don't hold that against him. They're like, "Look, if he's running from the police, he's got a good reason. Sakamoto's a good guy."
I love that so much.
And I mean, to be fair, they are right.
It's like that same community camaraderie energy you get out of Chapter 1 of Demon Slayer before everything goes to hell. When Tanjiro's just wandering around town being a good boy.
Yeah.
But in this, it's somehow dialed up to a greater level of insanity than Demon Attack.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the big difference is in this version, as Matt mentioned, he's running from a police officer. That should be cause for concern, but somehow it isn't.
My favorite of their attempted escapes is they hide in those cutouts, that you stick your head through for a picture, and Sakamoto's jowls get stuck.
He just runs away with the cardboard cutout.
My favorite is when they hide in the food stall and the food vendor says, "You have to buy 20 of these now."
Sure thing, Chief.
Well, yeah, Shin is like, "But we've already eaten," and here's Sakamoto already grabbing them.
Man likes his food.
We're about to see how much he likes his food, because we get into
the A plot of this.
Officer Nakase is, doing her, like we get a character building scene of, oh, you were top at the academy, yet you chose to move to this small town. Oh, well, I lived here. Like you get the classic standard stuff. I have a feeling we'll be seeing her again because they did a lot of character building for her to not show up again.
But she's stopping some punks who are harassing a girl, and in the process, dislodges a baggie of mysterious white substance. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like cocaine or weed or
it's something.
It is TM.
Shonen Jump, so it's drugs. Oh yeah, no, not drugs.
It's drugs TM. Yeah, I love the reaction of the punk who dropped the drugs, because he has such a like audience reaction of, well, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Whoops.
Like, I think he literally says whoops.
Unfortunately, this manageable number of punks is not all of the punks who are around, as ominous looming shadows arrive at the scene and quickly surround our dear officer. Cut to later that night, where the Sakamoto family, including Shin, I guess he's basically just been adopted now.
He probably lives there. Probably sleeps on the couch.
The family dinner is interrupted by nice Officer Grandpa, who says, "Oh, Nakase hasn't returned to the precinct. It's been many hours. Have you seen her?" Wasn't that the lady that was chasing us? I mean, no, we haven't seen her, sir.
I'm pretty sure he's like, I noticed again, this is such a thing owing to Sakamoto's sway in the community, because I'm pretty sure he's like, I saw her chasing you earlier today. Do you know where she went? And like, he's completely like friendly and like, hey buddy, how's it going? Can you help me out? Your colleague was chasing them.
You sure you don't need to arrest me first before like we find your friend? Like
Look, I'm going to be honest. If Sakamoto doesn't have some like John Wick levels of, oh yeah, I pulled my friend in the police, here's a gold coin, you saw nothing. Like, that's got to be what's going on.
I mean, so much of this makes it feel like it could be a like background universe story in the John Wick universe.
Oh, it really does have that feel, doesn't it?
That is one of them. But my favorite part is that like the vibe with that is a classic that comes up a lot in like Western daily comics. The down on his luck, kind of slovenly main character dude has a friendly sort of belligerent relationship with the local police. It's like, oh well, we had to arrest Johnny again. He was getting too drunk at the bar, and it's kind of treated as haha, so amusing. It's got that aura to it.
It's sort of like what Frankenfran parodies.
This is actually the start of one of my favorite recurring bits in Sakamoto Days, which is Sakamoto is immediately motivated to extreme action because his daughter thinks favorably of this course of action.
Yeah, because Officer Nakase had helped her out at one point.
So now we must defend Officer Nakase with our lives.
It's core Sakamoto. If his family thinks it's a good idea or needs help, then he's 100,000%. Yeah.
Then God help you.
It's also very John Wick-esque in the fact of, John Wick has a dog, not a dog. Yeah, you get the point. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually kind of what I was about to say, is that like Sakamoto Days in a lot of ways it's a happier Japanese John Wick. Like it's a John Wick where tragedy doesn't happen in a lot of ways, but like, very distinctly Japanese, which I mean, hey, John Wick is popular for a reason, and
Yeah, so our boys launch into action. They track down where Nakase is being held by these punks. We get one of my favorite aesthetics, just in anything ever, where they drop a smoke bomb and suddenly Sakamoto and Shin have become these looming shadows with just their like glowing eyes, like they're wraiths in a misty forest. It's so cool.
Pulling unwitting evil goons into the smoke to like we know these characters
of them horribly.
Yeah, we know these characters. We know they're not killing them, but it's the classic the Velociraptor in the tall grass
yes.
sort of thing where Voop, and it's like, what is happening?
This is also where we get introduced to Sakamoto's empowered form, Skinny Sakamoto.
Isn't that like a great shonen freaking thing?
Yeah.
The main character has a transformation.
He burns all of the calories.
Such a, like...
that is such a good parody of like transformation based shonens. Yeah, the super form.
Becoming a Super Saiyan. Forget,
like,
where were you when Sakamoto first became skinny?
The way that this gets revealed to the audience is there's a moment of Officer Nakase's because the bad guys, of course, blindfold for, it's like they're going to do the playing up the secret identity thing, and like, oh no, her blindfold is coming off, and that's when we get the reveal, like the smoke is dissipating and she catches a glimpse of not Sakamoto but Skinny Sakamoto. Who is this mysterious person and why does he look so familiar? Because again, Shin has a disguise that is both practical and looks cool. So like I like that. And then there's Sakamoto, whose disguise is he burns all the calories.
It has to be a hard thing to do in the art, I would think. I feel like if I was drawing Sakamoto Days.
Oh yeah, almost.
So I was like, oh wait, on this panel he has to be skinny. I like go back.
Well, it's like normally he's so just he is round and friend shaped. It's easy to draw, and it's like now I got to do this like muscle definition and whatnot.
Yeah, because he's always super detailed in skinny form.
Yes. The shadow and the jawline and the chin with the neck, like it's very very spot on, or like very very like, and even his hair, right? The like lines in his hair. So detailed.
It's more detailed.
It's like, okay, what's on the checklist? We fought assassins, we fought terrorists, we fought drug dealers. Now it's time to fight the triad.
No big deal at all. I gotta fight the triad. One guy, he can do it.
The coda that we get at the end of with that incident is we learned it doesn't take 5 years for Sakamoto to put the weight back on so that we can reset to the status quo for the next batch of shenanigans.
It takes at most 5 hours.
I think Aoi even yells at him for it. It's like, I told you to stop it too.
You were skinny again.
And you've now eaten 4 hamburgers, and look at you. Sorry, but they're tasty.
It's such a cute couple moment, because it's so obvious she doesn't care what he looks like, but she also like of course she thinks he's more attractive when he's skinny. Like it's one of those. It's such a couple
human,
moment. Yeah, it's such a cute couple moment. I love it.
Yeah. Now we must fight the triad, as Sakamoto and Shin have gone to Chinatown to get some pork buns, as you do, and immediately get caught up with a girl leaping out of a window and being chased by men with knives, which are swiftly dispatched because, of course, they are.
Yeah, she lands on the pork buns, and Sakamoto is very, very, very sad about this.
He spends like the next 2 chapters just going, my poor pork buns. What should I do to replace them? Punch! I suppose I could just go buy some more. Bam! Sweet bean buns would probably be good too. Kick!
I mean, again, like Sakamoto is so OP compared to all of these other characters that he doesn't even have to like give thought to who he's fighting or what he needs to do, and he's just like, man, I just want to eat these pork buns. That's all I want. I just want those in my life. I wish I could. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You kind of wish like you had that like ability to do tasks and like reflexively. Yeah. Like just I'm gonna work on this report while I'm podcasting for work, or I'm gonna cook a full course dinner while sitting here trying to be in tune in this meeting. And it's like, yeah, no, like I get one word in and it sounds stupid, and I need to like stop, slow down. Okay, what are we talking about? And why is my food burning? Crap. Okay.
Well, we're talking about the fact that this girl's family was killed to get their treasure, and she has fled with the key. And Sakamoto agrees to help her. It's worth noting that she is also her family was also one of the triads. So. Mm-hmm. Yes. Her name is she is Lu Zhaotang, and she is doing her utmost to protect the key to her family treasure. And Sakamoto agrees to help her in exchange for pork buns, as you do. So now it's time for a boss fight, because really we've just been dealing with mooks this entire time. It's about time we finally got a proper boss fight in this, as they now have to fight Bako and Sun.
Sun-hee. It's not like an old school American business. Bako and Sun, family assassins.
There was
Bako and Sons, movers and assassins.
If we kill them, we'll move them for free.
I feel like that would be a service in this universe. I will say the first time he's introduced simply as Sun and not Sun-hee, and there was a case where the Bako says something, like, what do you think, Sun-hee is like, well, little brother, and I'm like, wait a second. Oh, name, that's a translation thing.
One of the things is the introduction of these two is our first actual on-screen death, because okay, there's been bodies before in this, but it's mostly been flashbacks to explain how cool Sakamoto is, or Sakamoto thinking about killing people but not actually going through with it. No, these guys just straight up decapitate a man.
Yeah, the guy who had been chasing Lu Xiaotang goes back and apologizes, and he's like, call in the people who are actually competent, and then the people who are actually competent reveal themselves by decapitating a person.
It's honestly a kind of harrowing panel, because they behead this guy, and then Bako takes the head and places his hand over the mouth, and he's like, I can feel him trying to breathe. It's like, okay,
yeah, because
sure thing, boss.
Sure thing, buddy. The violence that had been depicted had always been particularly graphic, but because it was things that was mostly happening in Sakamoto's head and Shin was just reading it and reacting to it, it was always played for comedy. And this wasn't really played for comedy. This was building up the boss fight. And it's a pretty effective tone shift there.
We do have these two showing up in order to engage in battle with our heroes. It looks like Sakamoto is beaten, but it is the classic kick Superman through a building situation, as he immediately leaps back into action.
This is a fight where it's the first time since Shin, but this really is very much a fight to show that okay, we've had a boss fight. These guys can handle bosses without it being a serious problem. So the fight is visually impressive, but generally speaking, pretty standard as fights go.
My two favorite beats in it is they go to do their double attack on Sakamoto, and he just activates Ultra Instinct and dodges all of it. And then they go to do their other super ultimate technique, and before they can finish charging it up, Sakamoto whacks them over the head with a cooking pot.
He knocks out Bako, and Sun-hee looks over at Bako crumpled on the floor, and it's like, wait a minute, now I can't do the combo attack. Hang on a second, I need to think about this smack.
You need to chill. Hits him with a fridge. And thusly the day was saved.
Yeah, we get one thing that I appreciated was Sakamoto Days is a pretty even blend between shonen action and comedy, which is everything I love, but there is that element of, I was thinking that it was going to do the rather tired comedy beat of they open the vault with all the treasure in it, and it's something that's worthless, and then the character associated with it has some sort of emotional connection to the useless junk and the heroes who, because it's a comedy series, aren't exactly fine upstanding souls, or sad that they don't get rich off of this. But no, it's actually it's a triad treasure vault. It is filled to the brim with stuff.
And also a sentimental thing, sake that her father wanted to share with her when she was of age.
And that being the punchline, I appreciated way more than doing the obvious joke of the treasure was useless all along. You risked your lives for nothing.
The treasure was kind of useless, though. It was all sentimental things of the various triads that had value but were not immediately valuable.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'm not going to sell my family's keepsakes. Why?
Lou ends up joining the store, which is pretty great.
She objectively has a ton of money. She just refuses to liquidate it.
Yeah. I saw a tired punchline coming, and I appreciated that they didn't go for the obvious low-hanging fruit. I mean, Sakamoto would always go for low-hanging fruit, but the manga didn't.
all fairness, he'd also go for the high-hanging fruit and would eat all the
Probably
fruit.
that too.
Yes, yeah.
Especially if you can
That's
make
a
like
good
a
point.
sweet pork bun out of it. He's gonna go for it. I also though, and rereading this, realized like this is the first time you see Lou reference alcohol. And from there, it's all downhill.
Like it's kind of like that one episode of Tiny Toons, One Beer. Kind of the story of Lou Zhaotang. She had one thing of sake and then really never recovered from that.
Nope.
It's so innocuous in the beginning because they're not ultra clear about Lou's age either. But like there's one of those ones where it's like, is she old enough to be drinking this? I'm sure it's not going to come up again. It comes up again. It comes
That's
up
true.
a lot.
It is called back on.
Is she Japanese 21? We don't know.
Maybe and she's technically Chinese, so
Oh yeah.
she
Is
might
she
be
Chinese 21?
18.
Yeah.
I don't know what the legal age to drink in China is, or Chinatown.
Well, and that's the other thing where technically they're in Japan, so it would be behoovant to Japanese drinking laws. But
Guys, they're assassins. I don't think they care about breaking the law.
that's a fair point.
International laws, international suggestion to these people.
Guys, they murder people for money. Maybe what they want to put in their own bodies is the least of their concerns here.
I do love because Lou is like such an absolute cutie pie in terms of design. Like she like
More like a cutie honey, am I right?
Depends on the age. Depends on the age.
like just like with Shin, you have to remind the audience that he's an ex-assassin because he's such an audience surrogate that you kind of feel a kindred spirit with him. Whereas with Lou, they have like Lou will be like, "Hey, let's go commit some crimes," and Sakamoto and Shin are like, what? And then there's the little like narrator box with an arrow pointing to her ex triad.
Yep. You gotta clarify where she's from and what she's about.
Also, I'm just gonna say it right now. She looks like Kagura from Gintama. They both have red hair and the little hair thing.
This gives off some strong Gintama vibes, I'm not gonna lie.
You've all grown used to Shin being a mind reader now, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Time to introduce basically a lunar exalt.
And there it is.
I love this guy.
I'm not surprised.
I feel a bit attacked, guys. Kodie, back me up.
Yeah,
Maybe Mo is cool, right?
He is.
I think he's cool, but I'm still gonna judge you.
Hey, we don't need. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Look, he doesn't have confidence. That's the problem.
The thing is that as you'll see, the police officer we just referenced, right? Kase, I forgot her name. But yeah. And then we're obviously introduced here to another character, right? Nagumo, right? But it's actually Sakamoto. So it's Sakamoto, but it's Anyway.
He's
He's a doppelganger.
There's a whole thing about Shin's like, why is Mr. Sakamoto acting completely different? Also, why can't I read his mind?
Yeah, why is he talking? Why is he talking so much?
And then Sakamoto walks in the door.
Yeah, and so my introduction back to the point is that this is another character you're gonna meet and you see a little more of, but also like his introduction's cool by being a doppelganger, but you're instantly like, oh, you're still trying to like reel in that's not Sakamoto, right? Like his introduction kind of gets pushed aside through the fact that you're just introducing a new character that Sakamoto's like, that's not me, but you look and you don't act like me, but you look like me, right? So I just, he definitely a cool character. Kind of interesting how he just comes to be like a messenger bird for Sakamoto, and it's like, hey, like I know we're cool, but there's a lot of money out here for you, and you probably should look out.
He's got that classic role of third party who isn't exactly allied with our heroes, but isn't actively hostile towards them and will help them out just enough to cause problems for another group because it's funny.
Yeah, friendly but not allied. The other really important thing about Nagumo is he is a pathological liar.
Oh yeah,
every line of dialogue that comes out of his mouth is has trained me to not believe anything he says. The way that we actually get introduced to him is Sakamoto walks in the door, and then the fake Sakamoto and real Sakamoto fight each other. Sakamoto wins.
obviously.
You know, like it's closer to a draw. Nagumo even like points out like, you're still really good, but I can definitely tell you've been retired for 5 years. You should be concerned about that, because there's the thing at the end where
there's a 1 billion yen bounty on your head.
He explains,
okay, you're making that up.
No, that one's true, I swear, and it turns out it was. But I wasn't actually trying to collect the bounty. He was totally trying to collect the bounty. He just didn't win. Which is a fun moment from him.
He's very just nonchalant and very like passe, right? Like he's just very passive and very like, I don't care. I'm just gonna lie about it and walk away from this before I create, more pain and heartache for myself, because I know Sakamoto's gonna kill me if I really he won't kill me, but he'll beat me to the pulp, right? He'll win.
He'll beat my ass in the next week.
Yeah, exactly. So I really shouldn't like keep pressing this. I probably should just go back to my store across the street.
One of the things I love about Nagumo is it's like his true form, or at least we think it's his true form, is entirely different from Sakamoto. Like it's night and day, basically. And it's like, okay, how did he do that? Is he just a master of disguise? Is he an actual shapeshifter? And then at one point he gets Shin in a headlock, and we get one of those like high detail panels, and you see that he's got weird arcane symbols tattooed onto his hands. One for each knuckle.
I think the first time that you see that is there's like a meeting before that point where it's just kind of shown in passing, like he's just like, gesturing with his hands, and you see those symbols. And then the first time you get a detailed shot of it is a brief tussle later.
And then attention gets drawn to it. Drawn to it, and you're like, some magic that's going on here, lads.
You ask him, do you have magic powers? No, of course I don't. Damn it, that didn't answer the question.
So anyway, $1 billion yen, or $1 billion, yeah.
$8.5 million
currency in the new currency in the Big Hero 6 universe when San Francisco happens.
Shin and Sakamoto, and to a lesser extent Lou, because Lou's just kind of along for the ride at this point, they collectively make the very rational and intelligent decision of lying low until this whole bounty on Sakamoto's head thing blows over. They could just stay in the house and not bother with anything for a little while.
Taro, you remember how we promised Hannah we were going to go to that theme park tomorrow? Guess we're going to the theme park then.
Shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, sending a person that's a marked target to a very populated place just doesn't seem to check out with me. Like, why not? Let's just go for a family picnic, like away from everybody.
Well, for one, we can't disappoint Hannah, because this is this theme park is based off of her favorite character, Sugar, the fat, super strong bunny. Gee, I wonder why.
Why does she find this character appealing?
They don't want to bother Mrs. Sakamoto with this. We're just going to keep it a secret, right, gang?
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure this won't backfire in any way.
No.
I do love how that plot point ultimately resolves, but that's a bit of ways yet. Up to this point, there have been a fair number of chapters that have been or a fair number of stories that have been two-parters, but generally speaking, we haven't really gotten an arc yet. And this was an arc.
Yes.
The amusement park arc.
Yeah, I like it. I was reading your notes. I'm reading your notes, and I was like, oh yeah, the amusement park arc, like Sugar Park. Went to Disneyland for a few chapters here, folks.
It almost feels like a Sonic level. Sugar Park Zone.
Yes.
In Twinkle Park?
Yes.
Welcome to Twinkle Park.
no copyright law in the universe is going to stop me.
No, it's podcast. It's a totally different form of medium at this point.
Wait, I don't know if I should say that.
Editing Sam in the future. Don't play licensed Sonic music at this point.
Editing Sam in the future. We've got copyright struck before.
Really? Dang.
Would it actually? Yeah. Funnily enough, Kodie, it was on the last episode you were on, the Dandadan one.
What?
Yeah, it was the bit where Matt said, I didn't think that a manga that gobbles this much schlong would make me feel so hard. And I recut that and included the laugh from Bo Burnham's inside.
Oh, wow.
So that had to get shortened for YouTube.
We actually got copyright struck on YouTube for that. So
wow.
Thanks, YouTube.
Wow.
They're real. It was also just the laugh too. It was like an 8-second clip, and they were like, "That's not yours," and I'm like, "Wow."
How about you?
I didn't use any of the lyrics or whatever.
So I mean, I can just tell them like. Okay, sorry. That was my Sonic moment. I just, like, there's your Sonic music.
Suddenly the video cuts off.
The Sega lawyers are currently swinging through your windows.
Crap.
Editing Sam. Video game music is normally pretty fine. They don't care.
Unless it's Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo cares. But Sonic ain't Nintendo.
I mean, practically at this point.
Well, you're not wrong.
Well, fortunately, also Sugar isn't Nintendo, so back to the amusement park. We get a couple of scenes of this is the point where we get introduced. I think it might have been we saw something briefly like right before this. We get established. Yes, there are people with wacky, goofy gimmicks like the janitor assassin, and they are the joke characters who will be completely shuffled off to the side in side panels. Okay, got that established.
And the pizza assassin who uses pizza cutters as his lethal weapons.
I wanna point out that janitor assassin, for some reason on the wiki when I was trying to find characters' names, is listed as Tatsu, but that is not his name. He has a name. Tatsu is the name of the dude he fights, who does not ever get named in the manga, I can tell, but I found his name.
How we get to the actual meat of this arc is I believe it was the janitor assassin, Sakamoto, distracts his family and then knocks out and pulls into the bushes. You get the whole, we got to be really careful. There's going to be, people out in force. And it then cuts to after Sakamoto, Shin, and Lu leave. Another assassin comes in and is like, man, he really has gone soft, and then just shoots the guy dead with a silencer while he's on the ground, which again is one of those ones where it's like, Sakamoto can take itself seriously sometimes, and it's kind of chilling.
Yeah, just a little. Matt, you mentioned Frankenfran earlier. This guy looks like a Frankenfran creation.
Yeah, he's got the spiky hair and the piercings. Like he looks like he walked out of a Hot Topic.
He's also got like stitching on his like chest where his shirt is open that kind of looks like he was cut open in an autopsy style at some point. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of like never explicitly talked about character design world building that I'm a pretty big fan of, the stuff that lets you extrapolate a lot about a character. Sometimes it's incredibly serious, like this guy having, the Y cut on his torso from an autopsy. Sometimes it's a character we'll meet who has pineapple grenades on his shirt.
He has a Hawaiian shirt with pineapples, except instead of the fruit, it's pineapple grenades with the little flower frond on the top.
Because he uses bombs.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of the pineapple, we're gonna hand grenade hurricane in New Orleans. Those are good. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. Also, though, with the stitching and everything with this character, it definitely gives me that thing you mentioned earlier, the like apocalyptic vibes. As you're gonna meet more and more of these assassins and seedy characters, right? These seedy people that are just like, ooh, you've been like worked on and stitched on, and your head.
He looks like a Fallout character.
Yeah, exactly.
What has this world gone through that this is completely normal? Like,
we'll get to the point in this arc where I'm like, what has this world gone through that this is completely normal?
I think I know the point that you're talking about. But first off, we get Shin and Lu sort of make a point of let's let Mr. Sakamoto relax too. Like let's not let this nonsense get in the way of his enjoyment of the day, because he wants to spend time with his family. He wants to have fun. Hana is blissfully ignorant of everything going on. Aoi is also blissfully ignorant. So they basically tell him, hey, have fun with your family. We'll watch out for you.
We'll handle it.
We get a little bit of rules about how Shin has, I think it's like a 30-meter radius for his mind reading.
20-meter, and it's not. He gets a general static unless he specifically tunes into someone a bit like a radio transmitter.
He can notice things like malicious intent in the way people are thinking to themselves, and that's how he knows to like tune into enemies and whatnot. We get a really cool scene where like Shin is like he's casting the mental feelers out and trying to pay attention to everything, and he's not noticing anything, but we're following Tatsu. We see him get on the roller coaster that the Sakamoto family is on, and that Shin and Lu are in the back of. Shin is like, it's been a while since someone's attacked us. That's suspicious. That doesn't seem right. And Lu is like, that guy's a killer. I know that guy's a killer. How do you know? I was a triad, remember? But we get a
look at his hair. He's obviously a character in a shonen manga.
She says something close to that. A pretty freaking cool fight scene of Shin is able to get out from under the safety bar for the roller coaster, and this is another case where we get a Sakamoto bullet deflection moment.
Yep. Off the glasses.
Love this. So he's got bulletproof glass in his glasses, so he turns his head into the shot, and his glasses lens reflects the bullet. Because that's how that works.
I love Tatsu's reaction to that, where he puts his gun down, and it's like, of course, I should have known he would have bullet-resistant glasses. Because that's normal in this universe.
You would think the impact alone would like at least knock him out, or like give him like huge whiplash, with the fact that you're in a roller coaster going anywhere from like 40 to 80 miles an hour. Not to mention a bullet traveling. Oh, sorry, the science is just getting me. But yeah, bulletproof glasses, it works.
Or at least have the lens get knocked back and give him a black eye or something. But no, he's fine.
Guys, how the rest of this roller coaster fight goes, you're already in a losing battle here.
Actually, a really cool battle. It's actually probably one of my favorite fight scenes. How Shin and it, like just gets out of the roller coaster and decides like to have a full-on fight.
Like he intentionally jumps off at the top of the loop-de-loop so that he can land in the same row as Tatsu, and pulls him out of the roller coaster, and they have a really cool fight on the roller coaster. Tatsu is able to graze Shin, and Shin very quickly realizes, oh, those are poisoned. I am getting dizzy. My vision's getting blurry.
What do? I gotta do something about this. A lot of the times I was very willing to like accept the wackiness, the zaniness in this. This is the one that pushed me the furthest, only for like time. The more I think about it, the more it kind of makes sense, because the resolution to this, it involves the Sakamoto family getting off of the roller coaster and going somewhere else. Like, that is how this fight is resolved in our hero's favor. And it's like, how long were they standing on the track there for this to happen? But actually, a set of cars passed them by twice more over the course of this fight. So I guess that means there were at least 2 more rounds of the coaster going, which could give the Sakamoto family time to get to the position they need to. But then why is Lu still on the roller coaster getting motion? I don't know.
Lu's unable to get out of the roller coaster, clearly.
Yeah.
That kind of tracks given her personality. Yeah. I'd believe it.
I would say it goes back to the sake drinking.
Look, she got on that thing with a hangover, and the whiplash of the roller coaster just didn't do any favors for her head.
No, wait, that's next fight, but we'll get to it. We get a little bit of philosophizing. It's not the deepest of the serious moments of the series.
Someone who is afraid to die is weak.
They hesitate.
Which Shin says, that's pretty stupid.
And then he responds with someone with something to protect fights the most desperately. Basically, it transitions into Shin recognizes that, like, the poison is probably not going to kill him outright, but he is basically blind at this point and is going to have to create some distance. And he basically hides in a mascot costume.
And engages in, like, the classic amusement park stroke Renaissance Fair stage battle for the kids.
Instead of against the Power Rangers villain he was supposed to be up against, it's actually Taro and
or Tatsu.
Or Tatsu, yeah, because Taro is Sakamoto.
See, yeah. I really liked this because, for us, the readers who know that Shin can read minds, it's like, well, obviously, the way that Shin is fighting so efficiently, despite being blind, is he's reading the minds of all of the people in the crowd who are witnessing the fight. But then it's like, wait a minute, no, he can't tune into the details of that many people at once. Who in the crowd could he possibly trust to give him this kind of direction? And then it cuts to the crowd where Mr. Sakamoto is leaning forward, intently watching the fight and blow by blowing everything Tatsu is doing directly into Shin's mind. So Shin is kicking his ass, eyes closed. It's so cool.
Yeah, the other element that was important that had been established previously in the fight and sets this moment up so well is they established that Tatsu's really good at clearing his head because Shin
That's how he got so close.
Yeah, Shin doesn't notice him getting onto the roller coaster because Tatsu recognizes that, oh, one of them's telepathic. I guess I'm just gonna have to, clear my thoughts and not think about what I'm doing.
He just accepts that.
Because that sort of goes into the whole, like, I'm not afraid to die, I'm just gonna do things. I just do things on reflex. It isn't until Lou points him out that Shin is able to dig deep enough in his head to be able to catch his malicious intent. So it's like Shin can't be reading his mind to because like he has previously used his mind reading to stay a step ahead of his opponent's attacks and whatnot. Like that's like explicitly what his fighting style is, but we know he can't do that with Tatsu in particular. And we actually the fight is mostly from Tatsu's perspective of like, he's definitely still poisoned. It is not worn off yet. What the hell is going on? And, you get the reveal that Sakamoto is the one coaching him. Shin bows at the end of the fight to a roaring applause, and it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely back to what I said earlier, right? That this dynamic between the two of them. Well, it provides a lot of humor and insight. It also provides some really cool story because I could never think of that clairvoyant power, right? It plays into this exact moment of how Shin wins this fight, and it's so cool because you're just like, oh wait, is he predicting these moves? But he can't. How is he? Oh, yep. Sakamoto must be in a 20-meter radius, and he's just able to tune directly into it. So I think they set it up in the beginning of the chapter previously really well, and then it just gets a full execution with Shin beating this guy. So. That's just one of the highlights of his power and how it ties into Suzuki Sensei's overall story, right? That really makes it fun and entertaining.
That's such a classic, well executed shonen thing of establishing two characters with opposing power sets. And then how are they used creatively to, for the heroes to gain the advantage?
They capture Tatsu and then proceed to confiscate his JAA license card. What is the JAA, you might ask? Why, that is the Japanese Association of Assassins. There is a organizational body for assassins, to which there is a licensing process.
I did mention this earlier. There's definitely this Assassin's Guild vibe thing going on.
And I love how Lou looks at the license and it's that looks like a driver's license. He just has this on his person.
No big deal. You just get arrested or asked to get pulled over, and the cops just looking down while you're pulling out your wallet. You're like, is that a JAA license? oh man, you can kill me. Like, what?
You got a license for that murder?
Well, no, that's actually where I was going with it, because it's like it's mentioned that like all of the bad guys of Japan feared Sakamoto, and it's like you kind of wonder if it's like I could see in this universe where it's like a nice old grandpa cop comes up to like Nagumo over a dead body, and it's like, hey, you're under arrest for murder, and Nagumo just flashes his JAA license, and it's like, oh, okay, carry on, and Grandpa Cop walks away. Like, I could totally see the series doing that.
Definitely.
But yeah, now we get into the main event of this little arc.
There's no way this situation could possibly become more perilous for our heroes, right? Daddy, I want to go in the haunted house. Oh no!
Yeah, the one place in any like horror movie you don't want to go into, right? But in this case, I mean, it's not really a horror movie, but still, there's people trying to kill you.
It's like,
so don't go to a place where other people look like they're trying to kill you, even though they may not.
It's like the burn notice moment of why are we going to Disneyland? Because it's a magical kingdom with lots of witnesses and great security. Now let's go. And Shin and Lou are talking to Sakamoto like, a bunch of people have tried. At this point, there's probably some heightened security. As long as we stay in bright open spaces, we should be fine. Let's go into the haunted house, the optimal place for an assassin to go after their target.
Yeah, no big deal. It's gonna happen.
But we also get introduced to the main villains of this arc, a pair of assassins who proceed to Tatsuga just gets let free on the promise that he's not going to do any more assassinating, and he's like, that's cool, probably going to ride a roller coaster, then I'm going to head out. But he
well, you see, Hannah recognized him from the stage, so she gave him a Band-Aid for his boo-boo and said he was really cool, and he's like, I have awakened to peace.
This is that sweet family life you've been dissing out, Sakamoto.
Hey man, it's what do we say? What do we say? What's our new catchphrase? Kicking and a home cooking.
Home kicking, home cooking.
Yeah, kicking, home cooking.
They beat him up for information as they are I'm not 100% sure if they are normally an assassination duo or if they're just working together for this mission, but it is...
Obiguro wants them to be a duo. That's
gotcha.
Very sure.
Gotcha. Boiled, who is a very hard-boiled gentleman with, as we mentioned earlier, the pineapple grenades, because he like explosives. And then Obiguro...
Hard-boiled Cop and Dolphin, another great series that might have ended way too soon.
Correct.
Also not to be confused with the one villain from One Piece who was very hard-boiled.
Yes.
That I'm blanking on the name of. But yeah, and then Obiguro, who is a woman.
She doesn't really have that much of a gimmick. She's just a strong hand-to-hand fighter.
She's a hardcore assassin until Boyle does something that she thinks is hot, and she's like, he's so hot.
He's hard-boiled.
She likes fighting strong.
The ladies love a hard-boiled man.
And she also likes fighting strong people.
Yeah, I guess her personality really is like she's super into fighting to the point that she makes challenges for herself.
Yes.
Like she's definitely more thrill of the hunt than actually caring about getting the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Very shonen of her.
Yeah. She very much is that like shonen rival character that will inevitably become part of the team eventually. Yes. Her and Boiled both have that. Like I have a feeling that they're going to show up again.
They have that energy. Yeah, they have that energy.
It's a hospital of haunted horrors, and there's like zombies in the hospital and whatnot. And it's like
zombies are assassins. They keep getting attacked.
Every third one is an assassin, so Sakamoto has to like hide in his like get behind his family's backs and knock the people out so that they can move on to the next canned scare that's actually an assassin.
Because the haunted house is too scary, Lou needs a little liquid courage, and I'm just like, Lou, why did you bring a flask to an amusement park? Lou, you've got a problem.
No. My favorite part is she started off with taking anti-anxiety meds. And then she went on to booze.
That seems like a bad combination.
Ma'am.
Either that or her anti-anxiety medication was just more booze.
But yeah, like, and then just starts beating all the zombies because
she's drunk and therefore she is good to go.
She is drunk, therefore she is master of the drunken fist.
I was waiting for it to come up. I just was like, it's funny because I'm just rereading this, right? And it's like, oh, I didn't even realize like the alcoholism was preluded to.
It was always
it's always been there.
Hereditary.
And now she's like full-fledged like on this train. It's part of her fighting style. It's great.
We get Boiled versus Sakamoto, and we get it's mostly Lou versus Obiguro, because poor Shin kind of gets clowned here.
Oh, in all fairness, he is recovering from being blinded.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
you kind of forget about it.
He had his cool action scene last chapter, so this time Lou gets to fight the B tier boss. And
we're going to make this interesting. I've captured your friend here, and you need to land at least one solid blow on me every 10 seconds. Otherwise, my minions with chainsaws start cutting him apart.
Ma'am, did you bring an hourglass specifically for this convoluted strategy?
Don't question it. This is hot.
Ma'am, are you a shonen villain who kind of gets off on it?
Just fight me already. Hit me. Come on.
Well,
that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Lou goes through the 5 stages of drunk.
Seriously,
she starts off being weepy, and then she gets jolly, and then she gets angry, and
then she sobers up.
That's great.
And then she sobers up.
And it's like right before it's like right before the finishing blow to knock out Obiguro, she just like stops and like just basically taps her and is like, "Where am I? Who are you? What am I doing? My head hurts. I think I'm hungover." And Shin's like, "Are you serious?"
My favorite part is by the end of it, there have been so many like tension whiplashes because of this that the Mook holding the chainsaw is like, man, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing anymore, and he just lets Shin go.
He just leaves.
So are you still gonna cut me up, or man, I don't even know? And he just walks off.
At which point Obiguro is very pleased about the events proceeding. It's like, that is cool. Let's do that again. And
I'm gonna let you live so we can fight again. You're cool.
And Lou is just confused, and so is Shin. Lou has a headache and is confused. Shin is perturbed and confused. The things I put up with.
Yes, but this is all interspersed with the main attraction fight, which is Sakamoto versus Boiled, and we get a bit of a flashback where we find out that they were classmates at Assassination Classroom, you might say.
I mean, the Shonen Jump guy here is not going to confirm or deny that it has any ties whatsoever.
No. This is the stealth pilot for the sequel, Assassination College.
Ooh. That's news to me.
Look, we have some good ideas here on the Over Manga Cast on occasion.
That's why I like being here. I take this back and I tell Sasaki-sensei or Sasaki-san back in Shueisha now, hey, you should make this an Assassination College manga. You should totally get the whole cast back together and make it happen. The whole crew.
Be great.
If I had that power, I would let you guys know, but I do not have that power. I am a marketing robot. That's about all I got.
We can only dream.
But yeah, we get the bit with Boiled where he kept hanging out with Sakamoto and thought that the reason why Sakamoto never said anything to him was because they were both hard-boiled badasses. It was really because Sakamoto didn't even realize Boiled was there. Like, it wasn't even anything malicious about it. He just didn't notice him.
Oh, and the like level of he has to keep his hard-boiled persona, but you can see his heart breaking because Senpai didn't notice me.
He's also mad that Sakamoto gets a bunch of Gets a bunch of chocolates, bullet casing molded chocolates.
Look, that feel when no girl takes the casings of your favorite caliber of gun and molds chocolates from it. Look, okay, why even bother?
I did look at that crowd of girls that was giving the chocolate to Sakamoto and like, do any of them look Russian?
Shut up.
You had to know that joke was coming, Sam.
Well, I know I'm walking into it, but come on.
My favorite bit from that was when they mentioned, we didn't bother collecting the chocolates from the girls from the poison department.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Poor Boiled is left in the dust, and he's very angry about it. So he's like, I will make you remember me, Sakamoto, as he starts throwing around bombs and using his dynamite fist.
It's
He's got sticks of dynamite in his glove to propel his punches. It's like, okay, buddy.
It very much fits the comedic tone, but the thing I really liked about it is, you know, One Punch Man is a pretty big series right now. One of the big things about One Punch Man is, like, part of the premise is the main character can never actually be threatened. But this is sort of what I was getting at when I said I really like the fact that this balances the comedy with the more like shonen action bits really well, because as goofy as this guy's gimmick is with the, like, you know, rocket powered fist nonsense, like this is a fight, and like a really serious fight. It's treated and framed seriously, and we get Sakamoto being like, you're right, I have atrophied, I'm taking this seriously now. And of course we get the he's skinny now transformation, which, you know, like keeps the comedic tone from being, you know, departed entirely. But like I really liked, especially because we read One Punch Man recently, not to say that it's a problem with One Punch Man specifically, but just that I liked seeing the protagonist pushed, because it sort of like sets that element of he has places to go, you know?
You're saying there's limits.
Yeah.
Not Saitama. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, he's not invincible for the sake of a joke. He's, you know, he's a more...
He's really good.
Weird as it is to say, he's a more grounded character than that.
The fight is now very serious. They blast out of the haunted house into my favorite panel, where Sakamoto's beating the absolute crap out of Boiled, and it's like, you're right, I can't win against you. You're too hard boiled. And he leaps into the air and slams him through the wall of a Ferris wheel carriage. And now they're both just sitting there in my favorite panel. Sakamoto just arms folded, one leg over one knee, and Boiled sitting there covered in blood like, ow. The blown in wall of the carriage. It's like,
he just pulls out a cigarette.
You are pretty hard-boiled, Sakamoto.
We also get a little bit of Sakamoto acknowledging Senpai finally noticed.
Yeah.
My favorite gag of this is they get off of the Ferris wheel, and when the attendants, one of the female attendants says, "What happened?" when she sees the two of them, and Boiled is like, "It's not classy to ask a man why he got injured." No, I mean, what happened? Because someone needs to pay for these damages. Yeah, what has this world gone through that is something where it's like someone needs to pay for this?
Okay. If there's a group of people with JAA licenses, then nothing is sacred here anymore, right? Like, there's like,
that's
you know
true.
what we had.
That's an amusement park employee.
I mean, her boyfriend's cousin's nephew probably is a JAA assassin. You don't know, like, so you gotta.
Well, there's only 400 JAA assassins in all of Japan.
Japan's, it's very populated, but it's, you know, relatively small in terms of country size. So yeah, of course, they probably, you know, a dozen.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, they had an assassin fight upstairs.
This is just a thing.
It's okay, or on the Ferris wheel. It's okay, but you got to pay for it. You got to pay for the damages.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in the beginning of Hiroaka where it's like, yeah, there's a supervillain on the highway. I'm going to be late for work. Like, this is just normal.
Boiled is interrogated mostly by Mrs. Sakamoto. Who was very perturbed she was kept in the dark.
Boiled and Sakamoto are having a shonen defeat equals friendship conversation, and Aoi overhears that. What was that about a pussy on your head? And she has that I am so mad right now smile. You know the one.
She has an amazing I'm so mad where like she basically breaks apart the logic of this entire like it's a trope in manga to have this whole like let's not tell the wife and keep her safe from all of it, where she goes, so your plan was you knew we were in danger and you decided to lie to me about it for an entire day and you thought that was the right thing to do. I realize now as you're saying it out loud that yes, that was incredibly stupid.
DIVORCE.
Oh no.
Has her priorities in line.
It's like, yeah, no, it's very much so the case where it's like you have Sakamoto, Shin, and Lou have manga character. Like, that's stupid. Don't do that. And then I also love that when she hears that Boiled, this look, I'm trying to kill my husband.
And then it's like, whoa, Sakamoto's wife is pretty hard boiled. Like, that's his whole like rating judgment scale for everyone and everything in this for him. Like, are they hard boiled or not?
Hard boiled, Y or N?
Look, when Boiled goes to breakfast, he sees Eggs Benedict on the menu. He's like, what the hell is this?
But yeah, now it's time to hunt down the bosses of Dodenkai, the assassin organization that put the bounty on Sakamoto's head. We get one of my favorite bits where I love just incredibly obvious ways that the underworld obscures its behavior in stories like this. It's like, how is this not something that everybody has noticed? How open is this open secret? In this case, it's a video rental store where the videos they rent are feature-length films that contain crucial, like, mission-relevant information for taking down organizations and targets.
That's actually a legitimately clever way of doing things. There was that moment of it's a video rental store. So what time period is this set in? And then once it's explained to Lou is like, yeah, that makes sense. Who has a video rental store anymore?
Who has VCRs anymore?
And then one of my favorite.
They rent a tape for like $750,000 yen.
Yeah. And my favorite moment of this was at the end of the movie, you get Shin, who is like analyzing, wow, the twist from the cinematography was really well foreshadowed. I didn't see it coming at all, but it's so obvious in retrospect. Then you have Lou, who is emotionally sobbing at the movie. And then you have Sakamoto, who is asleep. And it's like,
who's the dad that fell asleep.
And it's like, that's just the spectrum of how you engage with media, isn't it? I am a Shin.
I want to point out something I found while looking up these character names about Sakamoto being the dad at the movies. That man was born March 10th, 1993.
I'm sorry, what?
Sakamoto, the main character of this, his birthday is March 10th, 1993.
I never realized that.
He is not a month younger than me.
I'm older than he is.
Yeah, Sakamoto was born March 10th, 1993.
Where did I miss this? I'm looking at the chapter.
It's on one of the covers with his they've got the prison spreadsheets or whatever, and it's got his name, his ID number, and his birth date. And his birthday is 93/3/10.
Wow.
I'm having an existential crisis. I need a glass of water.
Definitely. I also. Oh, nice. You got the screenshot the picture in there. Wow. Wait, you sure is that? Yeah, I guess that's a 9.
The alternative is 13, in which case that's much worse.
It was an 8 for a second, just at first glance, but yeah, I see that. Also, I mean, then again, though, the Skinny Sakamoto, though, does look pretty cool.
Skinny Sakamoto looks pretty. He looks pretty young. He's got a 5-year-old daughter. He's the same age as Nagumo. Then,
Yeah, that makes sense.
He could be 28.
Yeah, because they were in the same class together, and they
yeah. I find it cool.
Time was not kind to him.
His wife's cooking again, guys. Again, what's the slogan?
Oh yeah, takes years off your life. Home kicking, home cooking.
I also
the Sakamoto family way.
Wanted to point out the point that he just has like savings saved up from the old days of being an assassin, and so the storefront thing like is nothing to him probably because he probably has so much money from the bounties and the.
Here's the thing, I bet he can't touch that money.
Yeah, because
it's just like I'm not using your blood money.
Yeah, she says that in the flashback. Yeah, so and it's
that's why he has to win the airsoft tournament later in order to get clean money for Aoi to accept it.
It's another one of those ones where it's like this is a funny comedy series, but it's capable of taking itself seriously. It also kind of like. It's the same thing as like it's a video rental store and the videotapes have like mission critical information. Like the joke is it's presented like a Hollywood movie, but like that's actually kind of clever.
They lean into the bit so hard.
But like that's actually a clever way of disseminating information in a way that is like unobtrusive and hard to notice. And then something like Sakamoto keeping a nest egg for emergency purposes, you know, like this exact situation, you know, like it does actually make sense.
It does, and it proves quite effective as it gets our heroes to the headquarters of Dodenkai, where they begin their infiltration mission. My favorite bit in this is the chapter ends with them all suiting up in like their Mission Impossible get-ups, like with the black turtlenecks and the skull caps and all that. They get inside and immediately throw all that away back to their iconic outfits because they got tired of them.
Yeah, Lou asks, "Hey, where'd your jacket go?" He's like, "I got bored of it." My favorite bit was when they're doing the infiltration. Lou is like, "Man, this is so exciting! It's like we're spies or something." And Shin, with the biggest smile on his face, "This isn't a game. You have to take this seriously." And there's a little narrator box pointing to him that says he is also having a lot of fun. I identify with Shin so much.
And I think I think Shin is he's like that starstruck kid that he's like, yes, I'm working with like the most infamous assassin of all time, but I have to keep it cool and keep it together because like I'm Robin. You know what I mean?
I want them to think I'm cool.
I'm the Robin to the Batman, and if I was uncool, then I ruined the whole vibe.
He's fully. They do this whole infiltration thing. It's real cool. They're getting ready to go do the fight. And it's like, Mr. Sakamoto, I can't read any minds in there. It's like, oh, are they all so powerful that Shin can't read their minds? They break in. Everyone is dead. Nagumo went on an absolute murder spree. He got a kill-tacular in there.
And this is when we get the moment where... right before this, we're getting, as the infiltration is happening, we're getting intercut scenes of the Order, which is the JAA's elite corps. Primarily, like if something is unbalanced in the assassin world, they are sent in to set things right so that, you know, stuff isn't thrown into chaos. We get to meet a couple of them, including Nagumo, and they are told about how someone has been killing assassins. Over 100 assassins have already been killed.
We get in like the past month. And it's like we get some. We get kind of the Hashira situation of it's like, look at all these people with like primary antagonist character designs. You have Goth GF. You have Stabby Man. You have the Butler.
Yeah.
Collecting all the tropes.
And they're dead.
It's a great roster.
my favorite bit, just from a comedy angle, in that is Stabby Man, who like Goth GF says to him, "You might not want to eat that food." And it's like, oh, is it poisoned? He calls in the head chef, and he grabs the head chef, stabs him in the temple, and says, "Why are there onions?
Why are there onions in my risotto?"
It's like, okay, bit of an overreaction, but also very funny.
There, right? Like, if you're the elite.
I'm always hold the onions, so I understand.
Onions and tomato, I usually try to, 86 them. So, 86.
Yeah, literally, you didn't realize you could just 86 the chef. It's just as easy.
We here at the Over Manga Cast do not condone murder.
Now, this episode, I was expecting it to go in this direction.
Just 2 hours in, right? Just 2 hours in and finally get to the...
But,
yeah. But yeah, we catch up with like that meeting is happening like in Medias Res, and it catches up to the crew getting to the like main building of Dodankai and open the doors. Everyone's dead on the floor, and there's Nagumo just standing there smiling like he always does. And they immediately assume that he was responsible for killing everyone. And Nagumo is like, well, you've seen me do this. Now you must die too. And this is where we get the bit where it emphasizes the tattoos on his fingers. He grabs Shin around the neck and then...
It's always Shin. Oh no, he grabs Shin around the neck earlier. In this, he goes in like looks like he's cutting Shin's throat right out, but it's like, see, it's a rubber knife.
Yeah, it's one of those trick knives with the spring in the hilt, so it goes back into the... And Shin and Lou are very mad about this.
But he's like, well, just because we did this doesn't mean you're out of the hot water, Sakamoto. You better train.
This is how the information gets delivered to Sakamoto and company that there's someone who's been killing assassins and leaving an X on the walls in blood wherever they kill people.
We call it the X parasite. I mean red X. I mean X.
Well, we're all retired assassins, so really that sounds like it's more your guys' problem, right? If only X didn't come out and start killing indiscriminately right about the time this manga started.
Donnie
I mean,
was put on his head.
The bounty was placed on. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, if it weren't for the fact that we cut to a dramatic shot of the like X facing the wall that he's painting, I would have been like 50-50 X's Nagumo or Nagumo.
I do not know the extent of Nagumo's powers. I still think that's possible.
I mean, it's possible. It's just less likely now. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, if Nagumo was doing this and they walked in on him doing it and he just lied and said that he found them like that, like when he's like, I found them like this, you don't know if he's being serious or not.
Yeah, you just as the audience, us as the audience, right, that has seen him just being a liar pretty much this entire time. It's just part of his like character.
It's pathological.
Anyway, we then transition pretty quickly into what is possibly my favorite training montage I've ever seen in shonen manga, because they all decide they're all out of shape. 2 of them were never in shape, so they need to do everything they can to be better assassins. So Sakamoto rides his bike to take his daughter to school. She hasn't started school. I think it's still daycare until
daycare, yeah.
But whatever. He drives his bike to take his daughter places. Yeah, Shin just starts reading everyone's mind.
Shin practices his ESP
by just like eavesdropping on people, and then Lou drinks.
Yeah, Lou drinks. She just starts day drinking like an absolute champion.
Yep.
My superpower is alcoholism.
Guys, I realized my main weakness was hangovers. You can't get hangovers if you never stop drinking.
Pretty much. I want to take it back for just a split second. The back, like after you see the person who is X, well, you don't really see his face. He's drawing the X on the wall in their blood, and he's reading a beginning illustration book, like training manual or like art book, and he's like literally the balance is slightly off as the X is like completely off balance. But I wonder if the mangaka actually like had that book and just copied a picture of that book into like that's how
I wouldn't be surprised, because that thing is dog-eared and has like note things off of it.
It has the tabs. It has like multiple little tab, like sticky tabs on top of the pages too. So like, I just feel like he just was like, this guy is an aspiring artist. Let me grab one of my like beginning books I had as a kid before I became a manga artist. Just draw it into this series.
Suzuki Sensei is like channeling some of his like early frustrations into this character X or something.
See the plot twist that none of us are ready for is that he was part of the terrorist gang of manga lovers, and he is practicing in the painting with blood to create the ultimate manga.
I like it. The secret's revealed here.
Yes, only the hottest takes on the Over Manga Cast when it comes to plot prediction.
Anyway,
masterful theory crafting.
Anyway, we need to get a collector's item for Hana.
Yeah, we've had too much lore for a while. We need a nice little one-shot adventure.
Sugar pack backpack.
Oh man, it's just a limited edition backpack.
That's not the movie. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Christmas movie.
Oh, that's Jingle All the Way.
Man. Yeah, the action figure for his kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what I thought
of. I love how he hears that it's a limited edition collectible. So Sakamoto's just like, don't worry, I contacted my old information broker from my days as an assassin. He let me in on the down low of when one's released, but that's not going to guarantee us the bunny. We got to take out everyone in our way. Sakamoto-san, that's a whole bunch of old ladies and retirees. And also backpack otaku.
You don't.
Egad.
Well, obviously, subhuman scum that need to be destroyed.
These were the villains that they had been facing in their assassin days, obviously.
And poor Shin's like reading all the minds. It's just, yeah.
There's a lot of great scenes of Sakamoto fighting some old ladies.
Because like
it's great.
Because he's like getting like beaten up and bloody, like it's the most intense fight of the series yet.
Man.
He has flashbacks to his training days when he had to escape from a pack of sharks while underwater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like in the middle of this most intense, like just hilarious concept of a joke, they have to throw in the flashback that just hurts my heart. Where they're why are you doing this, Sakamoto? Like, you're getting beaten up. Like, this isn't worth it. It's just a backpack. And it flashes back to when he was his wife gave birth and he just saw his daughter for the first time and held her. And he was too scared to hold her. And then she smiled in that moment. He's like, oh no. I'm like, dang it, Sakamoto Days, why?
Do you remember when you first saw her, when you felt the entire universe tilt on its axis? You know, I don't know what they said back in those days, but I'd bet anything that her first words were dead. Dresden Files cut for you lot out there. Have fun with that one.
This is another one of those scenes where it's like, this isn't dumb fun shonen. This isn't wacky comedy. This is just a very well done serious beat, and I love that Sakamoto Days can just stick that landing.
And Sakamoto gets the backpack, and Shin, having witnessed this flashback in his mind, goes, "That's him, Mr. Sakamoto, the ultimate father,"
instead of the ultimate assassin, as he had been calling him previously.
And then, because we need to end on a comedy beat, Hana goes to her first day of grade school, and some boy thinks that her backpack is neat and she's cute, and you want to be my girlfriend, and you know, being a kid, she's like, yeah, and Sakamoto grabs his gun.
And Shin and Aoi both grab him and hold him back. And Aoi's like,
it's like they're just kids. It's a schoolyard crush. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's what Shin is saying, and then Aoi is like, you're gonna have to let her go someday. It's like, I love it. She is fully aware of what he's thinking. Yeah. For the rest of the day, stroke that chapter, Sakamoto is cleaning his gun.
Just as any good American dad would do.
Look, I don't know this for absolute certain, but I would bet a lot of money that Suzuki Sensei is a fan of Western comics.
Western media
just in general,
because this really does have John Wick vibes. This is like a happy, not tragic John Wick, but Japanese, and I love it.
But now for our final little mini arc of our reading, the Airsoft tournament arc.
Because what's been happening is so many assassins are still coming after Sakamoto, despite the fact the bounty got lifted. Well, I guess the people who had the bounty died, so he's still getting assaulted by assassins.
That's the thing. The people who announced the bounty, the person who put the bounty, the people who got killed were an intermediary.
Gotcha.
They were going to find the intermediary who was contracting the assassins, but the person who put up the bounty still has the bounty up and active. They just don't have any leads to who that is now.
Gotcha. Anyway, that has caused multiple assassins to come a day, and basically the Sakamoto team are dealing with it just fine, but they're like, this is really racking
the
up
windows.
Yeah, this is really racking up the repair bills. And then, lo and behold, a flyer comes by. Airsoft tournament. Hold on, the prize.
1 million yen prize.
Ooh, that could buy us some bulletproof glass for the windows. And I'm like, hold on. I need to do some math on this. And then I found out bulletproof glass, actually very inexpensive.
This is important information.
I guess we do live in a safe place when you don't have to worry about buying inexpensive bulletproof glass to put in your windows.
So Team Sakamoto is ready to enter into this, and we are introduced to our antagonist, Hisuke Mashimo, who is stupid and has a bird friend.
Okay.
Birds.
That's basically the extent of his character.
You might say he's bird-brained.
You did there. But you left out one super really good important detail. He's like a crack shot. Like, he's obviously like really good. He's a sniper. They have a new adversary that's also like actually like a really good shot. Probably wouldn't aim for his bulletproof glasses, so maybe Sakamoto's doomed here.
It's kind of a fridge logic moment, but like, he's a sniper. We learned that he's a sniper. That's the only thing he's good at. Snipers try not to get close to their targets. He walks into Sakamoto's convenience store like, hey, I heard Taro Sakamoto was here.
No, he's not here, but this is Sakamoto's, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's a chain though, so like there are thousands of them across Japan.
I'll never be able to track him down.
Shin's like, what a dopey assassin. He doesn't even realize he's talking to him.
My favorite part is Sakamoto-san going, you'd be surprised. The stupid ones are the ones that tend to live.
Which he ends with, remember that, Shin.
As we'll see in other chapters, as you guys keep reading, as we're almost to a good stopping point, that Shin playing stupid probably would be more helpful to him sometimes in some of the trouble he gets into here. So he does have Sakamoto to back him up. That's always a nice thing. That's a help.
Through this unfortunate set of circumstances, Heisuke doesn't have his big payday coming, so he's in desperate need of money because he's currently living in a very ramshackle tent on top of a building. When
he's homeless,
when his little birdie friend drops a flyer on him, he's like, hey, an airsoft tournament, I'm going to enter that. There's a max minimum team size of 2. I only have me. If only there were 2 people who would share a team with me. Meanwhile, Sakamoto and Shin. Hey, Lou, do you want to be on our team? I'd rather drink. Okay, Lou.
I'm going to be... No, she's like, I'm going to stay off to the sidelines because I don't like violent games. Yeah. She's in a cheerleader outfit. Not explained. She's just in a cheerleader outfit.
Brought a big bottle of sake.
Yeah.
Her goal was to drink on the sidelines.
Which, you know what? Know your truth.
Hey, two-man team. You're stuck with this loser. What? Oh, man, this loser's going to do nothing but weigh us down. Match begin. 3 people sniped out. Like, hey, I'm real good at guns. Oh, well then.
Yeah. How useful. The other thing I liked is his in the beginning when he's talking about his money troubles, he mentions that, hey, Pisuke, it takes 20,000 yen a day to feed you. I eat 2,000 yen a day. We really need some money, don't we? Which, it's like, I mean, I understand doing that for your pets.
He's like Denji, only it's more self-inflicted. And that makes it funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
But through various shenanigans, mostly Lou being so drunk she blows everyone's cover, Hisuke learns that this tubby guy is in fact Taro Sakamoto. And so he has his bird bring in his live round sniper rifle, and now we're playing for keeps.
Look, I'm just saying, if you can train your parakeet to carry your sniper rifle for you, that bird is worth 200 or 20,000 yen a day.
20,000 yen a day. Oh yeah, no, I wasn't.
Is it an African parakeet? Like, come on.
I wasn't mocking him for that choice. I was praising him. That's the most sensible thing he did, especially considering the fact that, okay, we also get another example of wacky bullet deflection, because Sakamoto literally just slaps a bullet out of the air.
Admittedly, it does hurt his hand.
It's a chunk out of the side of his palm. Like,
yeah. We also learn that Hisuke has specially designed bullets that ricochet up to 3 tons.
You got the Hawkeye effects going on here.
Well,
and I mean, like, speaking of birds, one really cool element is Pisuke spots for him.
Mm-hmm. He's an incredibly formidable foe. It's only because he's so weak mentally, not just in the intelligence sense, but in the easily startled and overbalanced sense that they're able to escape with their lives.
That's the thing. During the sniper rifle bit where he's like spotting them from afar and has called in, he accidentally is narrating his backstory to them, which I love, because he's just complaining about himself, like you left the mic on, and it's just like,
they heard that.
And his backstory
is that's for the airsoft tournament.
Mm-hmm. And his backstory is literally, I went to assassin school because I found out that I was really good at shooting guns. And I was really good at shooting guns to the point I was ridiculously superpowered at shooting guns. But everyone at assassin school said no one's good if they can only shoot guns. They need to know how to knife fight and dance and do other things that aren't shooting guns. No one has any use for an assassin sniper. Meanwhile, I'm just reading, I think a sniper would be uniquely qualified for being singular talented. Like, if you're a good sniper, you don't need to do anything else.
Look, Matt, the stupid ones survive.
I'm fair.
So funny, yeah. He's like crying on that page. Like, I'll prove the worth of an amazing sniper. And it's like literally in the real world, everyone, any kind of like military organization would kill to have you on their team.
I love how he's being mocked by the people at Knife Combat, going like, you don't know how to knife fight? And I'm like, dude, knife fighting is a last resort.
We have a common idiom about knives and guns and fighting.
Yeah, what are you doing bringing a sniper to a gunfight, to a knife fight? To a knife fight. This is an honorable duel of knives.
Let me just go Van Gogh on you real quick and cut off an ear.
I didn't realize we were following the way out here.
Sam, you've never heard of a knife edge deathmatch?
I mean, I have, but I have played Spy from Team Fortress 2 a time or two in my life.
The guy going sandwich.
It's heavy.
It's the Lemon Demon song knife fight.
I'd put that in if we wouldn't get copyright struck. Anyway,
like Lemon Demon could stop us.
See, here's the thing. I don't think Lemon Demon would stop us legally.
Fair.
I think Lemon Demon would stop us in other ways.
Oh, no. also, Lemon Demon is cool, and you should support them anyway. So
anyway, they managed to defeat Hisuke by Sakamoto throws a rock through his sniper rifle. Which, okay.
I really like the thing that they did because like they lost sight of him and they couldn't figure out where his perch was because he was ricocheting. They couldn't triangulate his position, which, you know, again, he's a really, really good assassin. And, you know, it is, you know, intentionally comedic that like, why is this guy not considered top tier? Because he obviously is. The thing that they're able to do to figure out his position is Shin basically gives him a self-help speech into the still on headset. His gimmick is that he ends most of his sentences in yo. So Shin screams yo at the top of his lungs into the headset and is able to pick up on the he can't hear
startled brainwaves.
Yeah, he can't hear his own voice through the other end of the headset. His lungs aren't quite that good, but he's able to notice the startled brainwaves of the sniper, and that's when we get Sakamoto. Rock beats gun.
Rock like Kamehameha is the gun. Like it's a beautiful panel of just like the gun getting just completely shattered apart with this like beaming rock. Yeah.
So detailed, yeah. And then of course
so
we also get the is he even human reaction, which
18 chapters in, we're gonna finally question his humanity.
We can just accept that Shin is clairvoyant and Nagumo is a lunar exalt, but Sakamoto being able to pitch a rock enough to break a sniper rifle, that's where I draw the line, mister. I need some hardcore expositing to make this make sense.
that old logic armor. The other nice thing is another averted cliche is that doesn't, cancel the airsoft tournament, of course. Why would it?
Team Sakamoto wins.
They get the 1,000,000 yen to renovate the store.
And they give like 500 yen to Hisuke.
No,
because
they give him 50 yen.
Oh yeah, 50 yen. Because they give him 50 yen because they took all of the damages that they had to pay for out of his portion of the winnings.
To be fair, he is the one who caused all the destruction. So, as much as that's a kick the dog
as
moment
much as
for
it's
him,
kind of a dick move.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yep.
Very true.
That brings us to the end of our reading. So, favorite character, and as always with Shonen's favorite fight. Kodie, our esteemed guest, favorite character and favorite fight.
You guys need to meet more people in my life because they'll tell you I'm anything but. Yeah, favorite character, favorite fight. Character's tough. The favorite fight definitely was Shin on the roller coaster. I think was definitely my favorite fight there. Which I think I gotta go. You almost want to pick Shin, but I gotta go with Sakamoto. I love the transformation to skinny Sakamoto. I love the internal thoughts in his head that are displayed. Obviously, he's just really dedicated to his family, and I admire that. Wife and child come before anything else, and it's just like there's the slice of life that you enjoy that you can relate to. Especially that if I'm older than Sakamoto, which is really weird to figure that out, but I digress. Yeah, definitely a great character. Love the development. Love how he's so powerful, but yet he has moments of like just trying so hard for his daughter to get the sugar backpack. Yeah,
the sugar backpack. Yeah.
Matt, your favorite character and favorite fight.
I'm gonna be honest. I think my favorite character is Hisuke with his little parrot and his super cool sniping skills, and the fight with him and Sakamoto and Shin. I really enjoyed that entire airsoft battle. It's got real funny moments where they just have like other people who are playing it as a friendly competition just get utterly decimated. Hey, Sakamoto, we're having a great. Oh no!
And they get so outclassed.
Oh, it's just fun, and I really love his character. He's got that dumb guy energy that I love in like a comedy series like this. I can see them doing a lot of fun bits with him. I'm a sucker for snipers.
Honestly, same.
Fair.
Jacob, favorite character, favorite fight?
Sort of a fun bit. Going into this, I didn't have any idea who I was going to say my favorite character is because it was honestly a pretty close tie between Sakamoto, Nagumo, Lu, and Aoi for a lot of reasons. But over the course of us talking about it, I think the two that really stood out as favorites were like the audience element surrogate of Shin, talking about it out loud really made me appreciate him as a character. But I think the fact that Aoi is a character despite the fact that she's not around a lot, she's a character with such, meaningful depth to her. And she facilitates both some of the best jokes and some of the best serious moments of the series. I'd probably have to go with Aoi with Shin as a very close second, but in all honesty, the characters are absolutely 100% one of the biggest strengths of this series. And I mean, like, name the bad one. Like, As for favorite fight, I am so glad, Kodie, that you that your pick was the roller coaster fight, because that is like such a razor margin second pick for me. with the third being the second half of that fight where we have Shin fighting blind and getting because like the reveal of that is so cool. But honestly, the fight that I think about the most and enjoyed the most was actually the very first one in the series, Sakamoto versus Shin, because they very quickly established that this is going to be a funny series. But one thing I did not expect from it was for it to be like really solid, really classic fighty fight type shonen. I wasn't expecting that element of it. It's short, it's quick, but it's a really well crafted and dynamic fight that I just really appreciated watching. And the surprise of getting that like right away really very quickly endeared me to the series and let me know what kind of a story I was in for, that, it's going to have its serious moments. It's going to have its like, real fights. It's also really, really funny. And then, the only element that's missing from that first chapter is the, like the particularly emotional elements, like why Sakamoto gave up killing and things like that. But that's definitely the fight that stands out most in my mind. Like the way that action lines were used created a really dynamic motion to it.
All right. And personally for me, favorite character is a huge tie between Shin and Nagumo. Shin, like, obviously, you're kind of meant to love him because he is the audience. He's the audience eyepiece into the universe. He is our diegetic way of understanding what's going on, and you naturally kind of got to enjoy that. But beyond that, the biggest thing I loved about him was he has so much like dad thinks I'm the coolest energy, especially once Lou shows up. Because he very quickly gets into a kind of a sibling rival. He gets into a quick sibling
dynamic with Lou, yeah.
Because he's the very like he's the one who tries to do everything right, and she's kind of a slob, and that is always a fun dynamic.
You're late. You were 2 hours late.
But also, every time...
I wasn't late by much. It was 2 hours.
Haven't you ever had a job before? Yeah, I helped my dad. We would bury these oddly shaped burlap sacks.
I love that.
Anytime Sakamoto is involved, it has very big, my dad is so cool energy to it when Shin is involved. And Nagumo, just because I love Agents of Chaos. I love chaotic trickster characters. And he's just a lunar exalt, which I get in my at least one exalted reference per episode. You know that by this point, audience.
I don't think it counts if you do the same one 4 times, but
I said at least one.
Okay.
He carries all the same like calling cards of my favorite type. So I'm like, yes, good, excellent. This is the kind of character who's going to create madness every time he's on screen, and I am super here for it. And my favorite fight, well, there are a ton of good ones. It's really hard to pick a favorite. I kind of settled on the stage fight between Shin and Natsu, where Shin has to use his telepathic powers in order to fight. Because I just love, the blind eye that sees moments.
Tatsu is the name.
Tatsu, yeah.
He's fighting the main character from Fairy Tail.
No, we're getting back to Eden Zero in a later episode. One of my favorite fights from the Tournament of Destroyers in Dragon Ball Super was Gohan's fight, like
against the dog guys, because they had the blinding move.
Yeah, I love just things that play against that. Besides one of the 5 senses, it's something that is, you don't think about it that much. So suddenly you take it away. Now you have to get really creative. And they use the rules of the universe to do it very creatively. And I'm super about that. So that was my favorite fight.
Mm-hmm.
Also, since no one mentioned it, actually, I just want to throw a quick shout out for Aoi Sakamoto. I really like her character. Real chill, real fun
my
background.
Favorite.
Oh, I didn't pay attention to what you were saying, Jacob.
As usual. Well, okay. Funnily enough, what I was actually going to say at that point was one of the things that I notice is it's a sign of a truly quality series that when we get into like the favorite character and then favorite whatever the tension of the story is, when everyone has something different, but everyone also always wants to shout out everyone else's favorite, that's usually a sign that you have a really quality series on your hand.
Also, I'm actually just really taken aback that, Jacob, you could say a character is your favorite when that character is basically Kobeni.
God damn it. You're right. No.
I was loading up the pictures. That's why I wasn't paying attention.
What's all the rest?
Yeah, except one of them has a likable personality. There,
You're right, Kobeni.
Fight me.
I know.
Wait a second. Are you questioning the likability of Aoi?
Well, my worldview has been shattered. So, would you continue reading Sakamoto Days? A resounding yes from me. It's funny. When I was reading chapter 1, I thought to myself, "Oh, this is your classic gag manga of." It's your classic gag manga of person you don't expect to be incredibly badass is. It's like, hey, this little monkey boy, you don't expect him to be able to throw a car, or this bald guy, you don't expect him to be able to, punch a giant.
Give someone with a punch.
Give someone with a punch. It's like this fat guy, you don't expect him to be super cool. I thought it was just going to be in that same vein of your classic gag manga. And then it very, very quickly differentiated itself, proved that it had heart, proved that it could do good storytelling and really amazing, just every aspect of what you want out of a manga. So it hooked me. I want to read more.
Yes, I do read this series, and I love this series, and I'm still reading this series. God, chapter 58 debuts this coming Sunday. I don't know when this will get posted, so
as of time of recording, yep.
So yeah, I follow it pretty heavily still out of all the series in the Shonen Jump universe that I try to keep up with and tend to. It's definitely one of my favorites, and yeah, it just kind of sneaks up on you. It really. You, like we talked about from that first image, you're just kind of like, what? Like, I don't get it. But then it's so blatantly cleared out to you, and everything is so well woven into the story that the suspense of disbelief is just like, it's just easy. It's easy. It's so natural to believe that Shin is a clairvoyant in this world. It's so easy. The Lou and her drunken monkey style fighting is just to be fun, and Mrs. Sakamoto, right, is just the perfect mom for the world. I lied. I'm sorry. Chapter 59 is coming out. But anyway, yeah, I do enjoy this series, and it's been a blast. So it was actually fun when you guys asked me, because I got to like dive back in, and some of the things you guys called out, I didn't even notice the first time reading through. So it's a good tip to go reread. Yep, go reread.
That's
go
the power of retrospect.
The hindsight, and be like, oh my gosh, like the whole like drunkenness of Lou is woven through and through, and I just love it. Always there.
Was always there, yeah. Rereads and rewatches of things can. I mean, like if you have a good series, then rereading and or rewatching someone, depending on the piece of media, you're usually gonna notice something cool that you missed previously.
I mean, hey, go listen to any of the episodes we have where one of us says that this is something that we followed a ton of. And then listen to each and every one of the hosts go, wait a minute, I didn't notice that. Me with Kill 6 Billion Demons. Jacob, would you continue reading?
Honestly, it was really hard for me to stop at 18. So
that's a resounding yes. And Matt. Oh, yeah, sorry. Keep going. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, that's
I keep accidentally cutting you off in the discussion sessions. This is like the third episode this has happened. I feel bad.
We need to keep cutting Jacob off because I need that time.
No, Matt, shut up. Jake, go.
I mean, that's all I was going to say. We really need to stop this whole you and me fusing into one being thing. It's just not working out.
Yeah. Over Monkey Cast Season 2, Jossum enters the fray. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
I don't even think I want to anymore. Okay, keep reading. It definitely hits a few notches on like things I like. Like it's low energy. No, low energy is really what I mean. It's not like expecting a lot from you to keep reading. The stakes are there, but like they're high stakes, but not like in a serious way. Like it's good to have one of those. Yeah, there we go. It's a low investment series, and you know, sometimes it's good to have one of those on the side when you're reading like a bunch of things that are like, man, this gets really deep, or man, this is really sad, or man, Matt, why do you read a whole bunch of like psychological horror things? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's read some Sakamoto Days as a chaser.
Love it.
All right, so thus concludes this episode of the Over Manga Cast. Kodie, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to finally be on an episode with you. I kind of feel like I have a parasocial relationship with you after editing the episode you were on. It's good to finally be here to record one.
Someone knows what I sound like. No, agreed. Always a pleasure to. And it's funny because I'm still in your guys' Discord channel, so every time I see like new people coming on to talk, I'm like, oh, I want to be one of those new people. I want to be a part of the group. I didn't leave the channel. I just thought I'd just stay in there and say hi from time to time. So hi. Yeah,
there you go.
Hey, we are happy to have you.
Oh yeah. So my day job is I am the essentially a marketing program manager for Shonen Jump. So I get to work alongside editorial team, the English editorial team, essentially that helps translate all these great series at Shonen Jump, and we work on the app and work with marketing and advertising, obviously, to make sure people find us and get on there and enjoy these great series that you can read. We have over 15,000 chapters now on that app, so you can find a manga, and more are coming. I promise you, more are coming. So, I'm really excited for what's in store this year. So everyone's always excited to hear what Viz and Shonen Jump's up to, and obviously, more on the Viz side. You know, obviously the Bleach anime coming this year. Everyone's stoked about, but obviously, I work mainly in the manga side, so you can find me on Twitter at Jump Kodie. I know it's a great name I came up with on the fly because I work for Shonen Jump, and I was like, hey, like I'm Kodie and I work for Shonen Jump, Jump Kodie. So easy, yeah, I'm there tweeting usually just about what series are hot and fun, and sometimes we make fun comments about the lack of NFTs that Shonen Jump's never gonna do. Hopefully. And all that. So, and I am big into Master Duel right now. So, I'm trying to make a relevant toon deck that can beat some of the meta. I know that's a tough challenge. Yeah,
that's an uphill
See more
battle.
on.
the only deck I ever like associated with, like I felt like passionate about. Like the old warrior decks were good, and like I love the toon monsters. Those are my favorite. So like all these new cards, I'm just like. I don't have that bond, that attachment that I felt when I like first opened Toon World, you know, and saw it in a pack, or you know.
Oh, gee, I could never guess why you like Toon Monsters so much. I say, staring at your Pegasus profile
so it's
picture.
really cool. So I never worked for a video game media company ever like this ever in my life until I've now been at Viz for 2 years, and it was like everyone had image of like a character from one of their favorite series. Like they don't even have like pictures of themselves on their like Slack and Google. So I instantly was like, then my first boss, Sasaki-san, editor in chief of Shonen Jump in Shueisha, Sasaki-san, was my boss, and so his first task to me was to read 100 chapters of manga a day. And so this just like seeing Pegasus reading funny comics was just like exactly how I felt. So because I was reading literally hundreds of chapters of manga
you were going
for the first couple of weeks I was at Viz, just to like take in analytical notes. You know, obviously it's the tropes and the themes, and yeah, I had read Shonen Jump as a fan, but I'm like a Shonen Jump professional, right? So like that diplomatic thing we talked about earlier, and like understanding like the connections between series and you know, some of the aesthetic design and you know, I didn't notice the Kobeni thing Anyway, that's like I'm gonna screenshot this and send this to my coworkers, and we're gonna have a good laugh about it. But yeah. So anyway, long story short, you can find me at Jump Kodie, and yes, I'm talking Master Duel or talking about Ted Lasso or whatever I'm watching on Apple TV. So you guys can follow me there. Yeah. So thanks. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. And hopefully next time you guys invite me, I'll be a friend of the show. I won't be a guest anymore, just friend of the show.
Yep.
Friend
You'll
of
get
the
that.
pod, Jump Kodie, the esteemed title.
Get that upgrade. Hey, maybe we'll go through some Yu-Gi-Oh and we'll get to Duelist Kingdom, dude. And call you in for that one.
Double check this. You might have to edit this out.
Great.
There is a new season of a new anime of Yu-Gi-Oh coming this spring. So perfect time. Yes.
I do believe there is.
We do like releasing episodes when a big announcement is coming out.
You gotta hit that sweet SEO.
It's very tough. We're doing it at Viz on a regular basis too. So anyway, yeah, definitely. Always a pleasure, gents. Please invite me anytime. Absolutely.
So that's where you can go find Kodie. You can find us on all of the social medias where we are at OverMangaCast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for our premier high quality show posting. We are on YouTube where we are also OverMangaCast. You can listen to individual episodes there or our various promo clips and comment on individual episodes. Like, comment, and subscribe.
If you'd be so kind, give us some reviews on your podcatcher of choice. We really appreciate those.
Mm-hmm. And shoot us recommendations of what to read on Twitter at OverMangaCast. Matt might pay attention to you. I don't guarantee it, though.
I don't respect Jacob's opinion, so I'll infinitely respect everyone else's.
Yeah, as long as it's not me.
And make sure to tune in next week, where actually Jacob's opinion will matter quite a bit, because we're going back to his favorite 2021 manga. We're going back to Eden Zero, chapters 29 through 48. Yeah, I am looking forward to this. So if you want to keep up with the pod, read those chapters of Eden Zero, and we'll catch you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.